The road to $10,500 runs through the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's round number 15 of the 17-race NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Tim Terry and Nim Cross here to call all the action for you. And Nim, we are getting ready for one exciting race. Atlanta always brings out some fantastic side-by-side racing.
Yeah, very fast, very bumpy track. You see drivers in speeds of upwards of 180 mile an hour around these corners, so and very wide, very high bank turns, a lot of side-by-side racing here.
Got a lot of storylines to follow here. If you were with us 1 week ago, you saw that Ray Alfalla had some connection issues, some power outage, some weather issues, hampering with the champion's internet connection, which means he finished 43rd in the race 2 weeks ago, and now we have a point battle on our hands between him and Mike Conti. 13 points separate the two. The difference is Ray Alfalla starts on the pole, Michael Conti starts fourth in this race, so it looks like Ray has drawn first blood.
Yeah, no doubt. The championship seemed to be in Ray's hands, and it seemed that nobody was going to be able to catch him. But after a little bit of mechanical issues and bad luck last week, we have a championship battle on our hands, Tim.
And you know, don't look past Kevin King either. Kevin King runs second in the standings, or check that, third in the standings, second in qualifying, or second in warm-up right now. I'm looking at grid now. Ray Alfalla, Mike Conti, check that, are your top two cars in qualifying. Kevin King in the starting position number 9, but he is second in the warm-up session. Don't discount Kevin King from this battle either, Nim. He's back there. Ray Alfalla has 513 points. Kevin King has 487. That's without the one drop factored into the total. Don't count out Kevin King from this either.
No, Kevin's been very strong in a lot of the races this year, especially later here in the season. He won back at Dover, I believe it was, and he's just a strong competitor and never be counted out.
Now let's talk about Dover for a second. If you just joined us and you missed the hot lap segment before we went racing, Brian Blackford and the crew there on the JRM hot laps talked a little bit about a setup find, I guess you can call it, that these drivers have made. And starting at Dover with some of the, I believe it was the Sim Chassis drivers, found a little something that the Sprint Cup Series teams and drivers a couple of weeks after ended up using in their real race cars.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. You know, the line between real and virtual gets blurred more and more all the time. Right now we see that these drivers out in the track here are using soft springs, and they're maxing out the difference between the bars in the rear end, which is allowing them to squat the cars and drive around the track with a little bit of yaw in the cars. And what's cool about that is that we're seeing the exact same thing happen on the Sprint Cup circuit. So it's very exciting, you know, that the software here at iRacing.com becomes more and more real to what is going on in the real world, and that the driving on iRacing and using the setups here on iRacing can actually be beneficial to the real world drivers.
And as these drivers continue to tweak, they're always looking for, and as we mentioned, there's different teams in this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. If you're new to this series, it's like a real-life series where you have the Hendrick Motorsports and the RCR and the Joe Gibbs Racing. You have teams here like JRM. You have MC Racing. You have J-Show Motorsports. And they're all trying to get a leg up on each other when it comes to setup finds and setup tips. And we keep seeing it throughout. And we go back to Sim Chassis. When they found that at Dover, they had a little bit of a leg up on the rest of the field.
Yeah, no doubt, and it's so hard. You have to spend so much time, you know, with the team, and that's why they all have teams, because they need people helping each other out and different ideas to flow across, you know, each other. So when they get in there and they work on the setups, and you know, they get to driving around, and it takes a lot of time to race at this level, just like it does at the Sprint Cup level. You know, there's drivers and crews, and they have people in their shops working, you know, basically 24/7, and to find out different setup stuff, and to work on the cars and get everything tuned just right. And you know, it happens here at this level in iRacing too. So, you know, it's with what's going on here, and you see that these drivers are actually, finding things that are being used in the real world, and vice versa. This could actually be something that becomes a tool for these setup gurus and the engineers in the Sprint Cup Series to think about.
And as we get going here this evening, we remind you that Twitter, the social media giant, is out there this evening, and we want you to follow along with this race from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our hashtag this evening is Atlanta NISWC. That's hashtag Atlanta NISWC. The most creative tweet, as picked by our staff here at PSR TV with that hashtag, will receive a $25 gift card courtesy of iRacing.com. So head over to Twitter and tweet about the race if you see something that you like, if you see something that you don't like, if you see a big wreck, or you see something that's mysterious to you, or maybe even a question to one of the PSR TV staff. Hashtag Atlanta NISWC. It could win you $25 courtesy of iRacing.com. While we run down the final couple of seconds here, we have a big field of cars. Let's go down our starting grid here so we make sure we get everybody in for this 15th round of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's Ray Alfalla on the front row with car number 2 at a 28.127. To the outside, Michael Conti in the number 5. Your 2 championship contenders start P1 and P2.
Inside row number 2 is car number 14, Brandon Catelli. His first race here in the iRacing.com NASCAR Series World Championship. And outside of him, Nick Ottinger.
Yeah, good run for Tell in that number 14. Jason Karlovich, 2 weeks ago, he was your winner. Pro Series driver, starts position number 5. And to the outside, 84, John Adams.
Dylan Duvall will find himself inside of row number 4. Outside of him, as you saw in the Hot Lap video, Steve Sheehan in car number 6.
Kevin King going to have to dig from position number 9. And to the outside, 92, Rich Doucette.
Inside row number 6, Chad J. Lofton. Outside of him, Thomas Lewandowski.
Brian Blackford back in the series after joining us 1 week ago. He rolls off from position number 13. Joshua B. Gerald rolls off 14th.
On the inside of row number 8, it'll be Tyler D. Hudson. Outside of him, car number 21, John Gorlinski.
The Twitter car rolls off from position number 17. It's Byron Daly into the outside. 98, Justin Thompson.
Your Pro Series champion starts inside row number 10. That's Alex Warren. Outside of him, car number 15, Josh Connors.
We got Josh Berry rolling off from position number 21 to his outside, Michael J. Johnson.
Inside row number 12, Cyril Nussbaum, the French Connection. Outside of him, car number 30 is Robert Hall.
Chris Overland in the 47 will roll off from 25th into the outside. 38 is Chris Main.
Starting 27th will be Patrick Baldwin. Outside of him, car number 40, Joshua Lofton.
Chad Coleman rolls off from 29th, and completing your top 30, it's Thomas Hazard.
Andrew Fash, the third, will go off 31st. Marcus Lindsay will go off 32nd.
Brad Wright will roll off from 33rd into his outside, the Viper, Landon Harrison.
Daniel Pope, the second, will go off 35th. Jake Sturgis, your winner at Las Vegas, will go off 36th.
37th belongs to Brandon Bookberger. To the outside, the Mohican Missile, Pedro Mojica.
Vinny Sansone will go off in car number 80 and 39th. Outside of him, Charles Cosper in car...
Are getting ready to go racing for 162 laps. Nim, final thoughts before we take the green?
Well, I think Ray Alfalla's problems last week will even have him more focused this week. So he'll be out there trying to stretch out this point lead again. He wants to stretch it as much as he can before the end of the season.
If you're Michael Conti, and especially if you're Kevin King, you really have to get up on the wheel here this evening if you want a chance at $10,500, the trip to Homestead, and everything else that goes with that prestigious NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship as we get ready to go green, as it looks like Nick Ottinger is going to dive onto pit road here. Not sure what the 05 is doing, but we're going green with P2 of Ray Alfalla putting the hammer down.
Yeah, that was very odd. Ottinger went to the pits. He must have had some kind of issue, but he had to get out of the way real quick there. But Ray Alfalla, very quick, clean start down through corner number 1 to the inside of Michael Conte. We got car number 14. That's that rookie driver that we talked about earlier in this race. That's Brandon Kettle.
Brandon Cattell to the inside, and the 14, the 5 to the outside of Michael Conti, the 60 of Jason Karlovich. last week's winner, or 2 weeks ago's winner, runs in position number 4, and looks like John Adams has his hands completely full with Dylan Duval.
Catelli will take over that second position, and Conte will fall in behind him in the third position.
Oh, we're going to stack somebody up here off corner number 2 as he goes into the infield trying to get a number on that. They were 3 wide back there, 92. Rich Doucette goes to the run.
Yeah, he was able to save it. He's gathered it back up. He's down around the bottom of corner number 3 and 4, but everything looks to be okay, and he's able to keep that car straight.
Good little battle for second here as Mike Conti holds off the number 14 of Brandon Cattell, but the 60 of Jason Karlovich also closing in. And how about John Adams back there in that number 84 having a good run early?
Yeah, Cattell qualified through the Pro Series, and he's going to be running the Pro Series, which comes up in just a few weeks, Tim, and he'll be trying to qualify for this series next season. But since he's qualified in the Pro Series, he's allowed to try to make these races, which he's done a very good job of doing so here today. Third in his first race, pretty quick run so far.
Tom Lewandowski going to move up 1 spot and put Dylan Duval back to position number 9. And Nim, we may have our answer as to why Nick Ottinger came down pit road in front of the leaders prior to us going green. He has connection issues. Ottinger currently out of the server, and right now 4th in the points. That is huge.
Yeah, it looks like he noticed something going on, something wrong, and wanted to get out of everybody's way as soon as possible, which was probably surprised everybody, but he definitely tried to get out of everybody's way. Did so, and looks like he's going to be reconnected and get back in this race.
Steve Sheehan in the number 6 moves up to position number 5 here. And Nam, I want to bring us back to 2 years ago in this series. Steve Sheehan, a relative newcomer to the series, not relatively new to sim racing, but Sheehan comes in, I believe it was his first or second start in this series, and wins this race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway a couple of seasons back. So Sheehan has some history here and looking to repeat said history as he currently runs position number 5, but one driver storming to the front, his teammate back there, Thomas Lewandowski, picking up positions early.
Lewandowski was able to pick up position on John Adams just the last lap, and the 42 car of Dylan Duval followed him through. Adams stuck up on the outside there, just kind of running smooth. This track is so banked, Tim, that you can run up the top pretty good without ruining your tires, and actually challenge up there a lot. You got to be real careful coming off corner number 2 because the track kind of flattens out there a little bit, but you can use the high side here.
Back up front, Ray Fowler continues to lead by 0.4 of a second over Michael Conti. It's about 0.2 back to Brandon Cattell in position number 3 as Karlovich put some pressure on him in the main performance PC, JDR Graphics, Tim's Corner Motorsports, number 60, as he looks at position number 3.
Yeah, Karlovich has been that pro driver that has been doing really good and picked up a win in the last race. He's been very impressive here, and he's not even running a full season here, but Tim, it might have something very unusual here. Jason Karlovich is trying to score enough points in this series, which he might be able to do. If he gets in the top 25 here, he won't even have to run the Pro Series to make it into this series for next season.
We saw it last season in the Road Drivers World Championship. I believe it was Jake Sturgis that did so. But that road point system just a little bit different than the oval point system. I'm not saying it's more difficult one way or the other to get in, but with the stacked field of talent with the oval series throughout the season, you kind of have to believe that a feat on the oval side like this might be a little more difficult, as it looks like Karlovich is looking at position number 3.
Yeah, Karlovich down to the inside of Cattell, going through corner number 1. Cattell lifts off the gas and falls back in line.
Karlovich going to clear him here and look to set sail on the rest of the field as the 6 now looks to the inside as the 14 is all kinds of sideways in the outside line.
Yeah, it looked like he got on the wall there a little bit on the back straightaway, scraped it a little bit and then backed off. That was a little bit of a scary moment for Steve Sheehan there, and he was able to get by though.
And we talk about the 14 of Brandon Cattell. He's not really a newcomer per se to the Sim Racing World, former GSR or GSRacing.net Truck Series feature winner, as he starts to make his way back up after having that little bobble. New compared to some of these other drivers, that have been racing for years and years and years through NASCAR Racing 2003 season and other simulations, but Cattell has really picked up on this iRacing sport.
Yeah, iRacing is pretty vast. There's so many different series and so many places where people race. There's 35,000 plus customers at iRacing right now, and those drivers will go. And by the way, we have a caution flag. They're all over. I just want to say, and Cattell coming up into this series, a lot of people may not know him, but he's making his name known now.
Vinny Sansone, the 80, goes around to bring out the caution flag for the first time here this evening, and it looks like he may have got a little bit of the Mohican Missile, or maybe vice versa, as a 24, and the 80 make contact going into corner number 1 to bring out our first caution flag here on lap number 12.
That's our first caution in over a race there, Tim.
We went caution-free at the Michigan International Speedway, and I believe there was a little bit of green flag running at the end of the previous race prior to that. So, yeah, this is our first caution flag in a little while, and this series knows how to put on some green flag racing, so I'm sure we're going to see a lot more green flag racing after this caution. Question is, do we see these guys down on pit road on lap 13?
I think you probably might see you saw the contact there between Pedro and Vinny as they went down to corner number 1. Vinny definitely getting the worst end of that. But we heard Steve talking about in the Hot Laps episode just before the race. Steve talked about that tires do wear here pretty good, and you're probably not going to. You're probably going to lose a lot if you take 2 tires than we saw at previous races. As we see everybody head down pit road now.
Your leader's going to head pit road here on lap number 14 for their first pit stop in this 162-lap event. Ray Alfala heads to his box, and it looks like Duval may have missed his box because he is already down and away. 2 tires going on the number 2. Are they going to take 4? Sure they are. The Pro Geek Consulting Chevrolet Impala takes 4 tires. He is down and away.
Looks like Steve Sheehan had a really good pit stop. May come off in the 2nd position.
And looking back at replay, Nim, Duval did miss his pit stall, so big break for Duval, or tough break for Duval, because it's 7th place now. He'll have to come back in, likely, and get tires and fuel, so he'll likely be back. How many cars do we have in the lead lap? 42, so it's looking like Duval, the 42, might be back in 42 when we go green.
It's actually pretty good for Nick Ottinger that he's 8 laps down now after his connection issue. Nobody else being a lap down. He should get his lap back here with a lucky dog this time by.
Now, I believe we do have some live webcam footage with one of our drivers here that are racing here this evening, and we'll look at 30th place Marcus Lindsay. And while we do that, Nim, I want to talk about Marcus Lindsay right now, and we keep talking about the bubble position, especially 3 races to go in this series. The bubble position is very key. Top 25 from points make it into the 2013 NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Lindsay is on the hot seat right now with 268 points. Back behind him, Brian Blackford at 262. Then you have Brandon Bookberger, Jake Sturgis, Chris Overland, Josh Lawton, and Andrew Fayash III, all within 30 points of that bubble. And then only 20 points ahead of Lindsay is Josh Connors, Chris Main, Landon Harrison, Alex Warren, Thomas Hazard, and Charles Cosper. There's a lot of names there. There's a lot of room to move in these final 3 races.
Yeah, and that bubble position will... What that is that you have to be in the top 25 to qualify for this series next season. And that's a whole lot of pressure off if you can make that, because if you don't make that, you have to try to qualify through the Pro Series, which starts in quarter number 4 of 2012. And that's a 12-race series that happens every week, and you have to finish top 25 in points in that series to make it into the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship for 2013. So if at all possible, you want to avoid being in that Pro Series, because if you don't finish in the top 25, you won't be in the series next year. And I tell you what, Tim, the Pro Series competition is insane. There are thousands of drivers that try to get into that series. 25 make it against 25 of the back 25 of this series, and it is just an incredible group of drivers that you want to be qualified for this series if you want to. You don't want to go through Pro if you don't have to.
You don't have to look any farther than our top 10 right now in this race. And I say top 10, we had 4 drivers in the top 10. Dylan Duval has that pit malfunction and he falls back. But we do have 3 drivers from that Pro Series in the top 10 right now. Karlovic, who won 2 weeks ago in this series, Brandon Cattell, and Chad J. Lawton. And then you got guys back on through the field like Joshua B. Gerald. You have, as we mentioned, Dylan Duval, Rich Doucette, among others that are going to be in that Pro Series. And then you have guys that are falling back, as we mentioned. I really don't want to be falling back into that series because with the talent that is there, I'd kind of be a little bit nervous if I was some of those guys.
Yeah, I'd be a lot nervous, and like I said, you want to stay away from that series if you can. But anybody who comes out of that series is going to be a quality driver, and it's going to make this series even that more difficult come next season.
So we will see in the final 3 races who remains in this series in 2013 and who ends up falling back to that Pro Series. Pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn down on the pit road this time by Alfala and Sheehan are your front row. Pace car in right here. And Alfala going to lead this field to green on lap number 16, the completion thereof, lap number 16. Green flag flies and big start for Ray Alfala.
Ray gets a good jump. Michael Conte down to the inside. He'll pick up that second position. Steve Sheehan is going to fall in the third.
Conti to second, Sheehan to third. Kevin King looking at position number 4 to try to hold off Jason Karlovich. Adams into the infield.
John Adams real sideways down the back straightaway. Let's see if he gained it. Yeah, John Adams is spun down the back straightaway. He did lose it, and he's going to spin that car back around and get going again. I believe there is no caution.
Yeah, he spun down into the infield, so I believe there will be no caution flag on that, but a tough break for John Adams, who was up in the top 10 when that happened at the GSRacing.net. Mud Jug Portable Spittoon Chevrolet.
You can see there he got down below Byron there, and he just lost some air off his car, spun it around. A lot of drivers did a good job of missing that. He saw Andrew Fasher third just get by there, but then he puts it in reverse, spins it back around, he's back on his way.
The 14 car, Brandon Cattell, continues to fall back here, named the 72 of Josh Barry, making his way now up into the top 10 with a pass on the 14. And it looks like the number 15 of Josh Connors also having a great run. He's going to move up 1 on Brandon Cattell. So the 14, after a great qualifying run, it looks like so far it's not racing well. Maybe it's by strategy, but the 14 falling back a little bit here.
Yeah, he looks like he's struggling a little bit. Looks like maybe the car's pushing, because when you see him go down to the corners here, you see that he slides up the track in the middle just a little bit, and the whole field gains on him right there in the center of the corner. Now coming off the corner, he gets a good run down the back straightaway, actually losing a little bit of time there, but he's struggling with that car right now. Maybe he didn't like some of the pit stop adjustments he made on that last stop.
So this time by, lap number 20 will be completed for Ray Alfala and Michael Conti, 0.2 of a second between your top 2. Steve Sheehan in third. Fourth belongs to Kevin King. And how about this 5th place driver right now, Brian Blackford in the 33.
Blackford doing a really good job. Blackford, a long-time member of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, up in that 5th spot. We usually don't see Brian up there quite this far, but doing a real good job, and maybe some of that setup work that he's been working on with his team, and that he's found out through the Sprint Cup Series has helped him pay it off, and he's got a handle on that and got a good setup under him for this race.
And keep in mind, that 33 is one of those late bloomers that I like to call them, that they really excel at the other half of the season, the second half of the season. Blackford last season lit it up, and I believe got 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 races. So Blackford, even though we're not used to seeing him up to the front of the field this early, it's good to see that number 33 up front, and he needs it. As we mentioned, he's on the outside looking in right now for that top 25.
Yeah, and you'll notice these cars as they go through the corners, the right rear is almost scraping the ground, as Steve explained in the hot lap segment before the race. The right rear just scraping, just bottoming out across the ground, and that yaw that you see in the cars is the exact same thing that you saw in the Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway Sunday night. So, everything that you're seeing here is exactly what you saw Sunday night. And these guys have a good handle on it now, and are moving very fast.
Great battles all over this racetrack as lap number 23 comes to a close. We begin lap number 24. Another driver that we've talked about so far this season that's really impressed, and by impressed there, Chad J. Lawton in number 26 is looking impressive, as I heard Joshua B. Gerald had a little bit of a nasty slide there.
Yeah, Joshua right now in the 16th position, down on the inside. Chris Oberlin up on the outside of him. He's got a pretty big group of cars behind him that are looking to make their way by, and he's holding them up right now, but able to gather back up, and he's back on his way.
Yeah, we see that side-by-side battle there. 56 on the inside, the 47 on the outside, 9 and 1 also there as well. Oh, that 9 car cuts well into corner number 2. Yellow flag, I believe, is flying here.
Yeah, yellow flag is out. Let's see, there's been an incident down in corner number 1. We'll have to see who's involved.
25, Richie Davidowitz involved in this one to bring out the second yellow flag on lap number 25 as he was up against the wall, and I believe the 98 of Justin Thompson's involved. And then when we look at this replay, it's almost essentially the same thing we saw on the last caution flag. 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate into corner number 1.
Yeah, I believe what happened is that Cyril was in front here, and maybe those guys checked up just a little bit before Justin realized they would, and he got in the back of the 25 car and sent him spinning up towards the wall. He did come over to the radio, Justin did, and apologized for the incident, but you know, just one of those deals. Everybody goes flying down in the corner number 1, and it is kind of an area where you can take a bunch of different entries into the corner, and when you're back of a lot of drivers, you have to actually check up a little bit earlier than what they do, obviously, before you get in the back of them.
So it looks like Ray Alfala for the second time will bring us on to pit road in the 5 of Mike Conti. Maybe trying to send a message, maybe trying to get into the head of Ray Alfala, looking on the outside coming into pit road.
Yeah, it's always nice to try to fake a block here and there to get so they don't know exactly what you're going to do. But as Steve was talking about in the hot lap segment, that it looks like tires are wearing a little bit more than they normally would at some of the other tracks we've seen. So I think we'll probably see a lot of these drivers take tires whenever they have a significant run on them.
Ray Alfala down and away, but he will be beat off by the number 6, Steve Sheehan. Sheehan will win the race off pit road. Alfala, Lewandowski, Conti, and Blackford top 5. Looks like Kevin King there as well. Karlovich slipping back a couple of spots. Byron Daly also up here in the top 10. And great run so far, as we mentioned, for Josh Berry. Berry's had a on and off season, missed a couple of races here this season but it's good to see Berry back up in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely Berry, a late model driver for Dale Earnhardt Jr., having a real good run out here today, and he's actually won some races in previous seasons. Steve Sheehan picking up a number of spots in that last caution flag on pit stops and on this pit round of pit stops. So the crew for Steve Sheehan doing a really great job here tonight.
Yeah, Sheehan, we talked to him earlier in the season, and he called himself one of those streaky drivers, Nim, and the fact that he does well for a few races, and then he quote-unquote falls off the radar, and then comes back and does well for a couple of races and falls off the radar again. And when you're looking for a championship, you really can't be like that. Sheehan right now sits 12th in the standings, and of course back to 12th place, either gets the iRacing credit or cash when it comes to the end of the 2012 campaign. So Sheehan looking to move up a little bit as well. He's only 5 points out of position number 11, and Carson McClellan, I believe McClellan is not here this evening, and he is only 14 points ahead of Sheehan. So Sheehan has a pretty good shot here, at least the top 10 before the end of this season.
Yeah, Sheehan has actually been very strong throughout most of the seasons in the races that he runs. He's always competitive, but he has problems with actually getting that finishing position, and he'll find himself maybe putting his nose in places where it shouldn't be and getting himself in a little bit of trouble, and that's cost him a lot of points throughout this season. But that's the way he races. He goes for it all the time, and we saw him back how strong he was at Pocono and got into a little bit there. It cost him some spots, but if he could just put a lot of these good runs and a good finishing position together with them, he could definitely be a contender.
So it looks like next time by we should get the one to go. Your leader is scored as number 21 of John Gorlinski. Second belongs to the number 6 of Steve Sheehan. Third, Ray Alfala, Tom Lewandowski, and Mike Conti complete your top 5. We still have 42 drivers on the lead lap. Nick Ottinger just got the wave around. He is now 6 laps behind the pace, so he gets 6 quick cautions and nobody else falls a lap down to him. He's going to be back in this race, but nevertheless, Ottinger 6 laps down, trying to hope that some other drivers crash and get out of the race, and he can pick up a couple of spots.
Yeah, he needs to try to get there. I mean, it's going to be a tough job to do. He's already picked up 2 laps, which is great. But he had that one race that he missed due to a penalty earlier in the season, so he's already used up his one race drop. So his one race drop basically is a 0. So this race will count for him. And if he gets 1 point out of this race, that will go towards his standings. And he's going to do his very best to get back on this lead lap. And we still got a long way to go, working lap number 29 of 162. So still a long way to go. He's already picked up 2.
So this time by, we will see the field go green flag racing with John Gorlinski leading the field. And Gorlinski is usually one of those drivers that we see after an update, a sim update for the tires or some sort. He comes on real strong, and John Gorlinski, he likes these cookie cutter tracks, these Atlanta Motor Speedways and so on and so forth. So watch for Gorlinski to be strong here on this restart. We will complete the 29th lap this time by with Gorlinski and Sheehan, the 2 teammates from JRM. In fact, the top 4 drivers all hail from Team JRM as pace car is off, and here comes JRM to the green flag, 21 leading them down. The Degree for Men Chevrolet puts the hammer down. Big start for Gorlinski.
Yeah, this will be a good idea. Give us a good indication on how the tires do wear after just a few laps of being on Gorlinski out front. On the older tires, you can see that car squat down in the corner, and Conti a little bit sideways off of corner number 2 there. Alfala in the 2nd spot.
Yeah, here comes the 33 of Brian Blackford, making things interesting as well. Blackford to the inside of the 5 of Mike Conti. Is he going to get him a little bit loose? Oh boy, close quarter racing here on lap number 30. 33 almost up into the 5.
Yeah, 33, he is charging hard right now, and he wants to get to the front. He doesn't have much to lose. Conti has everything to lose, so Conti's going to have to race him smart and not let that good, hard, tight race in there get to him a little bit there. But Conti has to realize where he's at in this race, and 4th position right now is not too bad.
Ray Alfala back to the lead in the number 2 as he passes John Gorlinski in 21, and it will go best time by as we got trouble off the wall.
One car got tapped coming off the corner number 4 and spun around.
I believe that was Brad Wright spinning in front of the field, and he may be the only one that really gets collected in this. I believe everybody, for the most part, got by the number 48 of Brad Wright. He may have had a little bit of help. It looks like the 26 checks up in front of him, and he gets spun around by the 15. For the most part, everybody else avoids the number 48 of Brad Wright. A couple of close calls there on the outside as the cars try to pass Brad Wright, but the caution flag will fly again for the 3rd time this evening.
Yeah, it looks like Brad had to check up for the 26 in front of him, and when he did, that got the car out of shape. But a number of drivers making it by there. You see Schoenberg headed towards the grass. Hopefully, it didn't do any damage to his car as he went to the grass. But everybody did a good job of avoiding.
Looking back up front, Ray Alfala and John Gorlinski, your top 2. Close battle between Blackford and Conti. And you mentioned Blackford has nothing to lose, and the 5 car has everything to lose. Blackford right now sits on that outside of that bubble right now, and as we mentioned, he joined us last week in the booth, so he had a 0 week, which means that'll be his drop week for the season, but he has a lot to race for right now. He does not want to go through that Pro Series. He knows how competitive that Pro Series is going to be. If he can get, let's say, a top 5 run here, and guys like Marcus Lindsay, Josh Connors, Chris Main, they finish mid-pack, that's going to close in that number 33 and possibly put him up in the top 25.
Yeah, there's a lot to race for, even if you're not fighting up for the championship. When we talk about it a lot, the top 12, you want to be in the top 12. If you can't make the top 12, you want to be in the top 25. Everybody outside the top 25 is trying to get into the top 25. So no matter where you are in this race, you are trying to race for points and get in front of the guy in front of you. The 33 car here, we usually don't see up in the top 10. Obviously, he's hooked up. He's running very strong tonight. This could be an opportunity to get a lot of points for him. So he's definitely wants to race hard. But the thing about it, we see drivers race hard all the time, but you got to race smart too to get the finish, because we don't pay points until the race is over.
And if you're a Pro Series driver like a Jason Karlovich or a Chad Lawton or a Dylan Duval or Brandon Cattell, you're out there racing for maybe a little bit of respect. This could be you next season, possibly going for a top 12 position in points or top 25 or possibly even a championship. These pro guys trying to earn some respect from these current Drivers' World Championship competitors here at Atlanta.
Yeah, no doubt. And a lot of them, know that when they come in, and they usually do a good job of racing clean and staying out of the way. and we've seen that so far. So hopefully that trend continues. And these guys, to be able to make it into this race, to be able to be here, they're good drivers. So I think everybody understands that and realizes that. And when the new guys come in here, they know that too.
So I believe under this caution, Nick Ottinger should receive the free pass, and that'll put him 5 laps down in this race. And the one thing for Ottinger, it might be a good thing and a bad thing in the same case, is that there's cars that aren't getting a whole lot of damage to them, which means there's cars not falling out of the race, which is a bad sign for Nick, because Nick wants to pick up a couple of positions. But in the same token, there's cars not being damaged and being 1 and 2 laps down, that Nick can continue to get these free pass award, get back on the lead lap or as close to the lead lap as he can. So it's really a catch-22 situation here.
Yeah, Nick wants these short runs with caution flags, and that'll allow him to get his laps back. If we have a long run and Alfala and the leaders are able to put drivers down laps, then Nick's in trouble, because he's going to have to be the number 1 lap car, which is more difficult to do. Right now, he's taking the opportunity to get a number of these laps back, and we'll see if he's able to continue to do so.
As we were caution and completion of this caution, we remind you that get your tweets in. It's hashtag Atlanta NiSWC. That's hashtag Atlanta NiSWC. We are going to give a $25 iRacing gift card to the driver. It might be driver. There are some drivers that are tweeting, but the fan who gets the most creative tweet as per the vote of the PSR TV staff, they will receive a $25 iRacing gift card. Caution has been extended to give Nick Ottinger the free pass.
You see Marcus Lindsay there racing from the comforts of his own home. And as you see all these drivers here, they all race from their racing pods or their desks or whatever setup they have, their personal computers with their steering wheels and devices. And you see Marcus there in his cockpit racing in this race today. And you too can be a part of iRacing, and you can join us and race here at iRacing.com. If you haven't checked us out yet, you can do so by visiting www.iracing.com. Right now we got a special going on for new customers. Buy 1 month and get 2 more for free. So head on over to iRacing.com, and for the price of 1 month, you can race for a total of 3 months.
And I suggest you get out there as the winter months are coming up. You have to have something to do. You have to have a hobby. If you're a real racer, get on to iRacing.com. It'll keep you sharp during those winter months. And if you're out there and Christmas is coming, maybe get that special someone a re-upped iRacing subscription for the year 2013. Always have to be thinking about that stuff, and it might be a good thing to think about with Christmas coming here in the next couple of months. Ray Alfala this time by, going to put the hammer down, and Alfala trying to close in on that $10,500 championship, but he's got Mike Conti starting in position number 4, and look who's made his way to the top 5. Kevin King, number 29, in position number 5. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car. Going to head to the infield right here, and here comes Ray Alfala to the green flag. Hammer down, we're back underway.
Yeah, they're getting a little bit jumbled up there in the back as there was a little bit of a checkup, but everybody was able to make it through. And we have Alfala out front, Blackford second. Gorlinski tried to keep on third, but Conti was there. Conti will take over that third spot.
Conti, and here comes King, Kevin King, and the number 29 to the inside of Gorlinski, or trying to get to the inside of Gorlinski is the 29 car. Tries to pick up a couple of spots here as the 6 is shoved to the outside. Sheehan falling back, and there's a freight train underneath.
Now remember, the 21 car is on older tires, and we're going to see how much that is an issue here for Gorlinski as we see Ottinger having some kind of trouble. He's making way back out in the pits, so he'll lose some more time. But coming down the back straightaway, it looks like Gorlinski is kind of falling in the spot, and he's okay there in the 5th position.
Steve Sheehan nearly went for a ride off corner number 2. The 60 of Karlovich is now on the outside line. Jason Karlovich about to lose a couple of spots to the 72 of Barry. And here comes the 01 of Tyler Hudson. Hudson looking to the inside.
Hudson to the inside. 2 weeks ago, it was race winner, Jason Karlovich, as they go around corner 1-2. It's kind of hard. It's really hard to keep those positions up on the high side. You can race up there pretty hard, but when everybody's down the low lane, it's you're going to fall back until you can find an open spot down low.
Jason Karlovich still falling backwards a little bit, and just behind them and side by side, I believe that's Chad Lawton and the number 38 of Chris May. Now underneath is the number 39 of Michael J. Johnson. Johnson trying to pick up a spot as he gets into the 38, and here comes the 9 of Thomas Hazard. Hazard looking for more.
Yeah, that was a pretty tight situation going down to corner number 1. And like I said, when you enter corner number 1, there's so many places or different entry lines you can take. So when you get somebody in front that does something a little bit unexpected, that's the kind of situation you get right there.
Kevin King looking to pick up a spot in the front of the field here as he is underneath the 21 of John Gorlinski and the 16 of Thomas Lewandowski. Trying to follow him through and put the 21 back. Oh, the 6 of Sheehan gets dumped by the 72 of Barry.
Yeah, it looks like the 72 car may have had position under Sheehan going down in corner number 1, but Sheehan didn't want to give up that spot, and that's one of those decisions that we talked about earlier. And we got some more cars banging. That's Schoenberg and Lindsay banging the 3.
Schoenberg gets a little bump from Daniel Pope. Now here comes the 42 with Dylan Duval. Duval wants to put his nose in this battle as well and try to pick up a spot.
Real exciting racing going on here very early in this race. There's still a long way to go. So as you see, the 6 here are going down into corner number 1. It looks like he just didn't want to give up that spot to the inside to Barry there, and Barry's not going to lift for him. And a little bit of contact happens there. A good job saving the car by Steve Sheehan. But sometimes when somebody's under you, you just got to lift.
And you look at the other side of it too, though, Nim. That 72 with Josh Barry. We're looking at lap number 40 right now of 162. There's a long way to go. There could have been a little bit of give and take at this point on those two. Is the 18 going to make it 3 wide? No, he's not. He's going to fall back behind the number 42. There's action all over this racetrack. Just in front of them, Michael J. Johnson falling back on the outside.
Atlanta Motor Speedway is one of the favorite tracks for a lot of these drivers. It's wide, it's very racy, it's high bank, and you can just drive the car down in the corner really hard, and you can race side by side, and it's a lot of fun. And you see that here. A lot of the guys are starting. Oh, we got Sheehan around the back straightaway.
Steve Sheehan in the fence, and Brian Schoenberg to the inside. Michael J. Johnson into the outside wall, and Sheehan comes up in front of traffic and stacks them up behind him. 4 wide off corner number 4.
Looks like we're still green here, but the 39 car is still having some issues.
I do not know how we are still green flag racing. There was a lot of cars scattering into corner number 3 and 4. Schoenberg is still going. The 47 of Overland behind him. The 30 of Robert Hall also there. What a run on lap number 45. The caution now flies on lap 45.
Looks like the caution's out for maybe Johnson as he's going around the track. We'll have to figure that out. But it just looked like that Sheehan got loose coming off corner number 2, got up into Johnson there, and that's what caused all that contact there. But there was another car around in corner number 3.
That was your 82 of Alex Warren, and I believe he is going to have a little bit of help from the 55 or the 51. Check that. Patrick Fogel. Fogel and the 82 make contact to bring out this caution on lap number 45.
Yeah, a lot of damage to that car of Alex Warren as he got turned around, and a lot of heavy rear and left side damage to that car.
As you see the replay, it looks like our leaders are now going to come back onto pit road on lap number 46 to get service on their race cars in this 162 lap race. Another caution, another pit stop on lap 46 into 47. We'll see what these leaders do here.
This will be a big break for John Gorlinski as he didn't get those tires the first time around. He was able to pick up a number of spots, 4th or 5th position. I forget what he was when he came in, but that's a good pickup from the last caution where he came out.
Ray Alfala completes his work. He is down and away. And Michael Conti going to come off pit road in position number 2. Kevin King in 3rd. And look at this. 1st, 2nd, 3rd on the racetrack. 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the standings.
Yep, there's usually a reason for that, and that's because these guys are very smart. They're obviously very fast, but they're smart and they know when to race and to when to take chances. You see back through the pack, a lot of guys taking chances there on that last segment, where it really isn't time to do so yet, and they're in trouble now. So, but like we said too, it's hard to keep a race car driver down, and this track is very racy.
Let's take this opportunity to step away for just a few moments' time. We will be back with some more green flag racing from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, round 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Welcome back to the Atlanta Motor Speedway in round number 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Your leader is your championship leader, Ray Alfala in the Progi Consulting number 2. Michael Conti runs in position number 2. 2 in the standings in the number 5, with Kevin King, Tom Lewandowski, and Brian Blackford completing your top 5. Down the back straightaway next time by, or this time by the stripe, we will be green flag racing in this 162 lap affair. 49 laps will be completed on the board.
Remember the last time we saw Brian Blackford having a good run and being aggressive to get up front. We'll see if we have a green flag run long enough to see how strong that car is. Top 3 cars up front right now, obviously very strong, but we'll see who, and the 72 car there is coming up through the field too, but we'll see who else can come up and challenge these drivers.
Pace car in, Alfala on the loud pedal, green flag flies. They're side by side for second. Kevin King trying to make something happen at position number 2, as here goes Gorlinski. Gorlinski sticks it 3 wide, and he'll pick up at least 1.
Yeah, Gorlinski's not afraid of 3 wide anywhere, as we saw Blackford spun his tires a little bit there off of on the start. A lot of drivers checked up from behind him, but Gorlinski going down the inside.
33-9-1 side by side, the 2 MC Racing drivers, as Blackford gets the best of Daly, and here comes the number 72 of Barry, Josh Barry, looking to the inside of the 91 of Daly.
Barry now up into the 8th position as he looks to the inside of Byron Daly, down through corner number 1 and 2. Daly's not having any of it this time, coming off corner number 2. Single file down the back straightaway.
Down the back straightaway they go as 16 and 21 are looking at a battle here as well, or it looked like the number 16 was going to make something happen on the number 21 as they now go single file. Lewandowski has been solid this race.
Yeah, Lewandowski is doing a really good job. Remember last year when the new tire model came out, new physics for here at iRacing.com, Lewandowski was very, very fast. He's not been so fast at the beginning of this season, but he's been running a lot better here in the last few races and has been showing himself up front again.
47 and 30 around position 20, and they went 3 wide. The 30 of Robert Hall falls back 2. Here comes Chad Coleman in the 7. Coleman looking to pick up a spot as Overland is side by side in front of them with Justin Thompson, and this is uncharacteristic for Robert Hall in the number 30. We usually don't call Robert Hall's name at 22nd place.
Yeah, Robert's been really strong this year. I remember he had a really good run at Kentucky, and he's been strong all season long. But you're right, Robert's struggling this weekend in Atlanta.
And Andrew Fayash, the third back here. We talked about him being on the bubble position, trying to get a couple of spots. As Fayash, he's 30 points behind the driver that's underneath him right now, with Marcus Lindsay. So he really needs to get up on the horse and get some spots as he falls back 2. That's not the right way to go.
Just to document, Andre 5 laps down to the field right now. Alex Warren, after that last accident, is 2 laps down. Richie Davidowitz is out of the race as we see Thomas Lewandowski to the inside of John Gorlinski coming off corner number 2.
'16 to the inside of the number 21 of Gorlinski. The 33 of Brian Blackford going to try to follow him through as well as Blackford tries to make his way back up into the top 5. Maine and Barry side by side.
Yeah, one thing you got to watch here, all these drivers are very aggressive. Gorlinski has known to be very aggressive. He'll stick the nose anywhere he can make it happen, or even if it can't happen sometimes. Lewandowski down to the inside making that pass happen. Blackford has shown himself to be very aggressive early on in this race. He's looking to the inside of Gorlinski as they go down to the 3.
And check if that was the 91 of Daly that was beside Maine as Daly falls back 2 spots, and in the line in front of Thomas Hazard. Your leader continues to be Ray Alfala in the number 2 as the 5 of Conti closing.
Last time off corner number 4 as we watch Blackford down to the inside of Gorlinski. Blackford got really sideways coming off corner number 4, was able to make a nice save. That allowed Gorlinski to get a run up on the outside. Now Josh Perry trying to get Blackford a little bit of draft help down the back straightaway. And still that battle for 5th position, I believe that is, goes on. Actually, 5th.
Blackford to the inside of John Gorlinski as they go side by side. Barry, Hudson, and Karlovich also involved in the battle at position number 5.
Still those 2 drivers side by side. The guys in back are just going to have to wait on them a little bit. Blackford has a little bit of advantage now as they go into corner number 3, but Gorlinski running up on that top side. You know, you can make the top side work a lot up there, Tim, but you will use up the tires up there a lot quicker than the drivers down the inside will.
That's the key word, and using your tires on that outside line. The 21 abusing them right now as Barry thinks about going 3 wide. Yeah, he's not going to do it going into corner number 1, but Barry thought about it down that front straightaway in the number 72.
Yeah, it looks like Blackford's finally going to pick up that position. Now Barry wants to try to capitalize on Gorlinski, but it's not going to be able to do it. He's going to have to fall in line.
60 at Karlovich. Look at the 01 of Tyler Hudson for a spot as well, as it looks like this race starting to get a little green flag feel to it here, Nim, as we are green flag on lap number 60.
Yeah, still a lot of good tight drafting going down the front straightaway there. Hopefully we get a good long green run in here. Lap number 60, like you said, still almost 102 laps to go. Last time we passed the line there is Karlovich and Barry look to the inside going into the 3.
72 of Barry to the inside of the number 21 of John Gorlinski, the 60 at Karlovich. And look at Chad J. Lawton. Lawton moving up into the top 10. The 26 is on them.
Yeah, the 26 car, remember he was involved a little bit in a contact there with the 48 car of, forget who that was. That was Brad Wright earlier on, and Brad is back in the race, still in the lead lap, but 26 car working really strong right now, working over Tyler Hudson.
The 21 of Gorlinski is looking at the number 72 with Josh Berry as they're side by side behind the 26 and 01.
Yeah, he may have gotten his tires cooled back down the inside lane. He can make a challenge happen right now. The 72 car right now from the leader, 2.4 seconds back of Ray Alfalo and Michael Conte. But so a little bit of gap between those cars is those three cars that we see Barry and let's see the 01 car, Tyler Hudson, getting the wall a little bit, and he's dropping back over now.
Here comes Duval to the inside of the number 42, Dylan Duval trying to make the move on the 01 of Hudson. Here comes the 9 as well of Thomas Hazard. Hazard trying to make up a spot as the 01 slams the door on the number 9.
Yeah, you move down a little bit there on the back straightaway just to let the guy know behind you that's your spot, and you know you're going to defend it, and then the Hazard had to back out and give it back to him. We see the 14 car, Brandon Catelli, right back there also, as he had a good starting position earlier and trying to make his way back to the front.
They're starting to pick up some spots after falling back on the second green flag run of our race this evening. Ray Alfalo continues to lead out in front by 3 car lengths over Michael Conti, Kevin King, Tom Lewandowski, and Brian Blackford.
Looks like Barry there in the 6th position is starting to stretch it out right now, as the 60 was working with the 21 car, but now he looks to the inside of Gorlinski as they go down corner number 1, so Karlovic is going to try to take that spot from Gorlinski.
Oh, Karlovic and Gorlinski make a little contact off corner number 2, and Gorlinski will try the crossover, not releasing the pressure, I should say, on that number 60 of Jason Karlovic, 26 of Chad J. Lawton. Underneath the number 21 now is the 91 of Daly looks on.
Yeah, Chad Lawton slides up the track. Oh, and they're going to get turned around. Everybody keeps straight, but going down the corner number 1, the 26 car.
Daly going to spin it off corner number 2 and bring up the caution flag here on lap number 66. Ray Alfalo leads as we're going to look at the replay here. Daly nearly had it saved him and lost it off corner number 2.
Yeah, he almost had to save. This guy did a really good job trying to keep him straight. And then in the back, the 40 car of, I believe that's Laughlin, and the 84 car, who's not having a really good night tonight so far, got together. That's John Adams. And they spun down the back straightaway, also trying to miss the 94 car. But yeah, Daly almost had it saved, but unable to do it on that banking and the apron transition.
Here comes Ray Alfalo and the rest of the field down onto pit road here on lap number 67 of 162.
These pit stops here are times where you can make up even more time than you can on the track, as we saw Steve Sheehan do earlier on this race. So, you know, the racing may be slowed down here, but it's just as intense. You want to get into the pit stall and hit your marks as best you can and get out as quick as possible, because here you can actually gain more time than you can if you're racing on the track.
Slow stop by the number 2 of Ray Alfalo. The 5 and 29 will win this race off pit road, and that's big for Conti. So as we looked at one more final replay of that incident, close call for a lot of drivers off corner number 2. Let's take this opportunity to step away for just a few moments' time and bring you back to live racing from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Don't go away. Welcome back to round number 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Your leader is Mike Conti, Kevin King in second, Ray Alfala in third. A little bit of a shakeup at the top three.
Yep, still the same three guys, just order swapped a little bit. Conte, King, and Alfala, like you said. Those three guys also fighting for the top three spots in our NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and we are round number 15. Only 2 more rounds to go after this, Tim, so we are getting down to it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time here to make mistakes in these final, I guess it's 2.5 races or so now, as lap number 70 being put up on the board just shy of the halfway point in this event.
See if these guys can get settled down a little bit. The racing in that last stint was pretty good. A lot of guys doing a good job of staying a little bit safer. And we had a little instance there of some contact with some really good saves going on. But then Byron not able to hold on to it, and he went spinning around. But so a lot of good job of people checking up and missing that wreck. It could have been a lot bigger than it was.
And we're getting ready for a restart here. Pace car into the infield. In the 5 of Mike Conti for the first time this evening. On the front row, puts the hammer down. We are back underway. And once again, the leader gets a great restart on the rest of this field.
Yeah, Conti out front by about 3 or 4 car lengths over Alfala. And now looking to the inside, Thomas Lewandowski looks to the inside of Kevin King coming off corner number 2 there, but he has nothing for him, has to fall in line.
How about the 16 of Thomas Lewandowski? What a run here this evening for the Nationwide Insurance number 16 as he closes in on a top 3 run with the number 29 of Kevin King in front of him, the 33 of Brian Blackford behind, and looks like they're going at it around 10th place.
Yeah, it's hot and heavy back there. With Parlovich, and then a lot of the pro drivers out. We got a yellow flag on track.
Caution flies again, and I believe it might be the 82. He was slow up here as, no, he might not have just caught the field when the green flag went by. We're looking at 51 of Patrick Fogel. Fogel into the infield, and the 98 of Justin Thompson was already spinning in front of him, so 51 and 98 involved in this one.
Yeah, it's kind of well, going into corner number 3, there was a checkup between Brian Schoenberg, who had contact with Josh Berry, and that caused an effect back to the field, and then the 98 car kind of came down on Fogel a little bit, and that sent the 98 car spinning down through the grass there.
That's not the first time this evening those two drivers have been involved in an incident at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in the first 72 laps of this event. One thing we failed to mention, I believe, here, Nim, on this last caution, I believe it was the 70 or the 92, check that at Rich Doucette, got the free pass. It wasn't Nick Ottinger, and right now Nick Ottinger is not in line for the free pass on this caution. It's the 82 of Alex Warren. Warren is one of those drivers battling for that bubble spot here in the 2012 season to get into the 2013 NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. So Nick Ottinger, 4th place in points. He's standing to lose a little more here tonight. Patrick Baldwin is your 5th place point man. He sits 25 points behind Nick Ottinger coming in. Baldwin runs P21.
Yeah, Ottinger's doing a good job, though, getting as many laps back as he can so far. He's got four down right now. And when all these drivers make their pit stops, which they have been up to this caution flag since they didn't pit this one, since we only went a lap or 2 before we had that caution flag. But as long as everybody pits, he's able to stay out and get the wave around before they go green the next time, and that also helps him get laps back there. So he still has opportunities to get those laps back as long as we keep having yellow flags, and so far we've had a bunch of them. We're not even halfway yet, and we've had a number of yellow flags so far.
I believe we're going to get the restart queued up here, and Nim, we're talking about, or at least the spectators are in the chat server of the 01 of Tyler Hudson switching lanes on this restart, and we're going to go back and look at this. The race officials have a rule in this series that if you do switch lanes prior to the start finish line on a restart, that's usually a black flag here. This is really a close call. I think back to, I believe it was a Pro Series race earlier before this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship season, and the 05 of Ottinger, he did the same thing, and it was a questionable call. I think we're looking at a questionable call with the 01 as well.
Well, he definitely comes back, on the start there. You see the 47 car is down on the inside line, and the 01 car definitely comes down and tucks in behind the 47, but I think he realizes what he's doing, and he tries to get back up to the outside lane. But, the officials have a tough call there to make, but they go by the letter of the rule, and they will make the appropriate call.
It looks like Tyler Hudson for the while will stay in position number 13 as we run here under caution. Michael Conti continues to lead Ray Alfala. Kevin King in third, Tom Lewandowski fourth, and Brian Blackford completes your top five. Chris Main in sixth, Jason Karlovich in seventh, Chad J. Lawton in eighth, Brandon Cattell in ninth, and Dylan Duval in 10th. And look at those names, 7th through 10th. And include 11th in there, Joshua B. Gerald. They're all Pro Series drivers.
Looks like Tyler is explaining that he spun his tires, and that's what brought him down to the inside line there. And that's why he moved back to the right-hand side.
So this time by lap 75 will be completed as Alex Warren will get the free pass, and the number 82 will be back with one lap down. He's currently 2 in the number 82 Corepipe Chevrolet. Michael Conti leads this race, looking for his second win of the season and looking to try to get closer to that $10,500 check.
We mentioned that we have 2 races to go in the series. After this one, we go to Chicagoland on September 19th. That's 2 weeks from today, and we'll run 134 laps there at Chicagoland. And then after that, it's the series finale on November 3rd at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So 2 more races of Chicago and Homestead after this, both 1.5 mile tracks, so a lot of good racing ahead.
And we saw the Chicagoland race earlier in the season. Chicagoland going to be a return venue or a return trip to the Chicagoland Speedway. I believe it was, I want to say it was Bristol, that Chicagoland Speedway venue replaced. There was an issue with the Bristol track. It was either Bristol or Darlington. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nim. It was one of the other two. But yes, it was Bristol. So you look at that, and you have to look back to that Chicagoland race, albeit you can't really look back at that for the fact that there was a different build, different rules package. I guess if you're new to the sim, a different build, different tires, it's going to change things a little bit. But you can look back there to see who was strong and maybe make some predictions for that race.
Yeah, we definitely can look back there and see who's going to be strong. There definitely have been some changes. In this last, just a few weeks ago, we had some updates to the physics model and the tire model. So these drivers will definitely, if we talk about the setup that drivers are running earlier tonight, Tim, that kind of thing wasn't happening back in Chicago the last time we were there. So a lot of things learned about the physics and the tire model here, and they'll be looking to apply that when we hit Chicago in 2 weeks.
So we'll see who gets the upper hand here before we head to that Chicagoland race. Your leader is the number 5 of Mike Conti. To the outside, Ray Alfala in the 2, Kevin King in the number 29. As I said a little bit earlier, we are still fairly early in this race, still in the first half of this race, so don't really expect the gloves to come off. But once we hit, let's say, 20 to go or 10 to go, we might see some of these points guys maybe be a little more aggressive with each other.
Well, still a long way to go. Yeah, hopefully they'll settle in for a long green flag run here. But the track, as we talked earlier, the track leads itself to hard racing because it's so fun to race. And you'll find, with 43 cars on the track, down to about 40 right now, 42 actually still cars on the track. There's still a lot of cars on the track and a lot of traffic, and one mistake can get you caught out.
That was big for Mike Conti. Big restart for the number 5. As the 29 of Kevin King will take position number 2 away from the 2 of Ray Alfala. 16 of Lewandowski in 4th. And look at this, 38 on the outside line, and he's all kinds of sideways in the Spin Master number 38. He loses 1, 2, 3 spots as here comes the 42 of Dylan Duval to try to pick up one on Chris Mayne.
And Mayne up on the outside, running up in the top 10 and trying to make a 3 wide down the front straightaway. Duval is on the 14 car, but the 14 car able to get back inside as Mayne backs out there on the top side a little bit. Duval trying hard again down the inside.
42 with Duval as the 26 gets all kinds of sideways. The 01 of Hudson to the extreme inside. We're going to go 3 wide. He's going to clip the apron, and he might clip the 26 here as well. The 01 of Hudson forcing the issue here on lap number 79.
Yeah, 3 wide off corner number 4, and then through 3 and 4 there is not really easy. We have Kevin King passing right off follow there for the second position, but still 2 and 3 wide going down corner number 1.
This is really exciting. 9 of Thomas Hazard nearly loses control off that number 38 of Chris Mayne. He loses one spot on the 28 of Chad Lawton as the 47 of Overland puts the 48 3 wide, and the 18 of Daniel Pope, the second, goes back 1, 2, 3, 4 more spots.
And we see the 48 car, Brad Wright, working his way back up there after an incident early on. 3 wide, again going down the corner number 1. And these guys, they just don't, you're getting to the end of the season. They're trying to race as hard as they can as the Hazard there and Overland and the 56 car there, 3 wide. Now Steve Sheehan down the inside of Brad Wright going in 3.
This racing absolutely fantastic here on lap number 81 as the 6 of Sheehan tries to close in now on the 47 of Overland. Leave Overland forced it 3 wide in the last 2 laps as yellow flag will fly at a corner number 4.
Looks like the 77 of Andrew Pash, the third, is around in corner number 4 as going down in the corner number 3. It looked like John Gorlinski tried to go down inside the 39 car and got up into him a little bit, which sent Pash around.
That was actually the 89 of Landon Harrison that the 21 gets a little bit of contact with by the looks of it there. The 77 of Fayash, nowhere to go, and it looked like he tried to save it. It looked like he tried to put it back in the wall to save it, but he hits it with the wrong angle. It bounces back out, and that will bring up the caution flag. And with Fayash on that bubble, that's the last thing that Skeleton Optics number 77 needed.
Yeah, he needed to have a good run here, and he can still recover, especially the way everybody's driving out here tonight. They're driving pretty crazy. So, you know, as crazy as everything's going on right now, we only have 1 car out of the race. But if they keep it up, we'll have more than that out, and that'll be it.
So once again, your top 3, these guys are battling for the championship, so every single point will count, especially those laps that Mike Conti are leading. If he can lead the most laps here this evening, then that's 1 extra point. That could be huge once we get to the end of the season.
Well, definitely. The championship battle is up front right now between Alfala King and Conti. And those guys are going at it right there for those positions. But Conti, since Alfala's so close, will definitely want to get that bonus lap and bonus point, just so we can get that 1 more point on him.
So the 5, the 2, the 29, they lead your field with Thomas Lewandowski. And now Jason Karlovich has made his way into the top 5. So the 60 car creeping his way back up into this picture here. Karlovich looking for 2 in a row in this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
He's good enough to do it, as we saw 2 weeks ago at Michigan. He's good enough to run up front. He's been running up front ever since he started running this series just a few weeks ago. And you know, he's working on that bid, as we talked about earlier, to get in the top 25 in points without running the Pro, so he doesn't have to run the Pro Series this fall. So that's his goal, and he's doing a good job of it so far.
And it's an uphill battle right now, with Karlovich having 220 points, albeit he does not have any drops, because obviously he missed a few races at the start of the season. That cutoff right now is 268, so with 3 races to go, he's looking at about 43 points. Can it be done? Yes. Is it mathematically able to be done? Yes. Is it going to be an uphill battle for him? Yes. It's going to be tough for that number 60 to do, but you know, if he keeps running the way he is and he keeps getting top 5 finishes, then it might make it a little bit easier, and we might very well make history this season.
Yeah, if he's going to get 43 points, if he's got to get 43 points per race, it's going to be extremely difficult to do. He's basically got to win every race from here on out, but or finish second with some laps led. But yeah, it's a pretty tough task.
So the number 5 of Mike Conti out in front with the 2 of Ray Alfalo, your 2 drivers that have battled all season long. And Nim, it looked like prior to the week before here at Michigan that it looked like it was Ray's championship. He had a full race advantage on Mike Conti in the number 5, and then the power goes out, and all of a sudden that one race advantage, or nearly one race advantage, turns into a 13-point advantage prior to drops.
Yeah, it's one of those things that nobody could help. Everybody's responsible for their own connection to the service, and sometimes even though you're responsible for it, you can't help it either if power goes out in your neighborhood. As we talked about, all these drivers are running from their pods and their homes, and if they lose power in their home, that's just like if you were in the Sprint Cup circuit and you had a mechanical issue or a blown engine or an electrical problem. That is something that you really can't help, but it happens from time to time. And Ray, it cost him last week. He had a commanding lead in the championship, and today, coming into this race, it's down to 13 points with only 2 races to go.
And it looks like this time by we will be going back to green flag racing, so we'll see what Ray can do on this restart with Mike Conti in the number 5. Kevin King sits in position number 3. Tom Lewandowski and Jason Karlovich completing your top 5. Blackford, Duval, Hudson, Chad Lawton, and Chris Main complete your top 10. Lap 85 will be completed this time by as we get ready to go green.
Yeah, just past halfway. The drivers in that last green flag run has shown that patience has pretty much been thrown out the window, pretty back from a third of the way back to the field on back, and it's probably only going to get worse from here as the pace car is off and the green flag is out.
Great start for Mike Conti in the number 5 as the 2 of Ray Alfalo to the outside of the 29 of Kevin King, and look, here comes Jason Karlovich. Karlovich to the inside and looking at the 2.
Yeah, down the inside is King, side by side coming down the back straightaway. Karlovich down the back of King, trying to help him with that draft a little bit, but Alfalo up on the outside there, he's having none of it. He's going to take over that second position.
01 and 42 are side by side as Dylan Duval from Halifax, Nova Scotia, looking to the inside of the 01 of Tyler Hudson.
That 47 car, Chris Overland, really out of shape from the 4 there. He made contact with another driver. He was able to save it, and everybody's back on their way. Going down corner number 3, still side by side is the Tyler Hudson. Up on the outside there, he's battling right now for the 7th position. He just got around, looks like Brian Blackford actually just got around the 42 car. And 3 wide back in the pack. And, some contact back there with the 14 and 51 Patrick Vogel through corner number 1 and 2. Everybody able to keep it straight. The 30 car is spinning in turn 1 and 2.
30 of Robert Hall around on the back straightaway, and we talked about it earlier, Nim. We're not used to talking about Robert Hall running in 22nd. We're not used to talking about Robert Hall spinning around on the back straightaway on lap 88.
Yeah, a bunch of cars checked up in front of him, and he checked up, and Barry got into the back of him a little bit, sent him down, spinning around the back straightaway, but he was off the track and back on his way. He's got some heavy front-end damage to that car. No caution flag.
Single file for your front positions right now, as it looks like Duval looking at Brian Blackford for position number 6. But for the most part right now, as it stands, single file throughout your top 10. As here comes the 01 of Hudson to the inside of the 26 of Chad Lawton for a spot.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it happen though. He backs out, back in the pack there, just a little ways back there. Overland getting pressured by Joshua Collins. He's not able to make it happen though. Everybody getting single filed.
Saw one car dive down there on the apron on the back straightaway there, trying to get a number on it. That was the 98 of Justin Thompson, as Thompson falls out of line, and he might have a little bit of connection issue as well.
Looks like Tyler Hudson trying to make something happen there on the inside of the 26 car down around corner number 1 and 2. He's able to keep it down there. The 26 car's pinching him really tight, but Hudson able to keep that position coming off of the corner, as just in back of them, the 6 car and the 48 car, that's Sheehan and looks like Brad Wright's fighting side by side through 3 and 4.
Yeah, the 01 of Tyler Hudson and the 26 of Chad Lawton, I think, made a little bit of contact going into corner number 3. If not, it was mighty close, a 9. Now to the inside of Thomas Hazard. Hazard looking to pick up a spot. And don't look now. Here comes Sheehan back into the picture. Sheehan looking to make one more spot here and run in the top 10 at least.
Yeah, Shane working his way back from getting into that outside wall as he got it together with Michael J. Johnson, and that's Michael J. Johnson just behind him earlier in the race. So Sheehan able to battle his way back from that damage early on.
The Poltergoose, the number 15 of Josh Connors. What a great run he's having so far as he works to the inside of the 47 of Chris Oberlin. The 40 up there as well at Josh Lawton. Check that as he is looking to pick up a couple of spots as well.
Yeah, the 15 and 40 have really good runs here today. Oberlin right in the thick of it all night long. He's been in the battle all night long. Right now, the 15 car of Josh Connors fighting it out down on the inside. They're still side by side.
And keep a half eye on that 6 car as well. Steve Sheehan looking on the 9 of Thomas Hazard as he will pick up one more spot. 26 of Chad Lawton back there as the 38 of Chris Main looks to make a move on him as well. Action all over this racetrack. Out in front, it's Mike Conti by 0.4 of a second.
26 car looked down at the 9 car again going in corner 1, and he didn't want to let out. And we've seen that a couple of times from Chad Lawton here tonight. He doesn't like to let off the gas there a little bit, but he had to right there for Hazard.
And these Pro Series drivers have to keep in mind, correct me if I'm wrong now, I believe in this series there is a rule that if a Pro Series driver is charged with a caution flag, that they bring out a caution flag, they might not be racing the next week. I believe they're fairly stiff on these Pro Series drivers in the series. Caution is out.
Yeah, I believe you are correct there, Tim, as if they are found guilty for a wreck, they will not be able to race in the next race.
This is a multi-car engine in the corner. The 80 and the 51 are involved, and I believe there might have been one more as well that was involved in this one to bring out the caution flag. And I believe it was the 18 at Daniel Pope II, and he will get turned around as he was on the 55, the back bumper of the 55, and it looks like he just cuts it loose. And will go up into the 51 of Patrick Fogel, and there might have been one more car there that also may have got the number 18 as he went around the 80 of Vinny Sansone. Boy, innocent bystander here as he had nowhere to go but into the 51 as the 51 went up the racetrack.
Yeah, when you're right on the bumper of a car in front of you, you really have a hard time seeing because of this spoiler is so big of the car in front of you, and you know if you get rubbing that bumper the wrong way, and it could just catch you out and get you spun around. And that looks like what happened there to the 18 car of Daniel Pope.
Michael Conti onto pit road here as that 0.5 of a second lead, that 5-car length lead has evaporated, and now he's going to try to do what he did on the last pit stop, quick pit stop, and maintain the lead. He got the lead on this last exchange as the 5-car and the crew goes to work on the inside sim racing number 5.
Let's see who comes off pit road first here. Kevin King's on his way out. Condi's on his way out. Looks like Condi's going to hold on that lead. Gorlinski up in the third again, so he's probably doing something again with tires there as he's trying to pick up some track position. As we've seen him do early on in this race, he's pretty good at doing that. Right now, working lap number 97 of 162.
And Ray Alfala loses 2 spots on that exchange. He falls back to position number 4. On that exchange of pit stops. Dylan Duval looks like he's going to pick up 1, and it's going to come off pit road in position number 5. Out in front of your field, a couple of drivers did decide to stay out here. I believe your first driver to stay out was Patrick Fogel. He is now tailing the lead lap, as is Nick Ottinger, the 39 of Michael J. Johnson, the 30 of Robert Hall, and Andrew Fash, the 3rd. They are all laps down or on the tail end of the lead lap, so that should put the lead back into the hand of Mike Conti.
A number of these drivers are working on fixing damage from their cars. Nick Ottinger, he's working on being disconnected earlier in the race. He went from 8 laps down. He's now 3 laps down. So he's doing a good job of picking up those laps. But the 80 car of Alex Warren, he was damaged early on in the race. He's working on trying to get that car fixed and back into full race-ready mode there, if he, as far back as they can get it as possible. Robert Hall, right now, Michael Johnson, Patrick Fogel, and Andrew Fash III, all 1 lap down, trying to work on their cars, get them fixed.
Looks like the 77 of Andrew Vash III is awarded with the free pass on this caution flag, but with the, it looks like a little bit of damage on that race car, he picks up that award and gets back on the lead lap here. So a couple of guys getting that wave around here on this caution flag. Nick Ottinger, 3 laps down. He's far from out of this race if he can catch a couple of cautions that go his way, but we are in that second half of the race already.
Yeah, definitely in the second half of the race, but the way the race has been going, we're going to have a lot more cautions from here on out, as we have had a number of them so far. He's got time to do it, and it can definitely happen the way this race is going.
It looks like the wave around drivers will get their laps back and pass the pace car, rejoin us at the rear of the field, and we will be ready to go back to racing. Next time by, we will have 63 laps to go when we take the green flag. Kevin King is on the inside there, sitting in position number 3. The last time by the scoring loop, Gorlinski is there as well. Gorlinski's been playing some pit strategy here this evening. It seems like the last couple of races, Gorlinski has been playing some pit strategy. I think back to Michigan, he was one of our first drivers, correct me if I'm wrong, Nim, that went to pit road and tried to play a little bit of strategy that ultimately didn't play out at the end.
Yeah, Gorlinski, he likes to, he was way back in traffic, and he likes to use a lot of different tire strategies, as we saw last week at Michigan, and this week. It worked out for him last week, and it does work out for him a lot. But he was back in the pack, and he's, again, using tire strategy to get his way back up to the front.
So the pace car will head to pit road. We will have 63 laps remaining when we take the green flag. Michael Conti trying to hold on to his second win of the season here. Here comes the green flag, and Michael Conti once again puts the hammer down, and a great start for the 5. Green flag 29 on the outside. Gorlinski going to let him into line in position number 2. Ray Alfala 4th and side by side at 5th. Here comes Lewandowski to the outside as he tries to pick it up on Duval.
Oh, and Gorlinski real loose off of corner number 2. That allows Alfala, Duval, Lewandowski, and now Karlovic trying to make a 3 wide going down to corner number 3.
Hello, Jason Karlovic. Karlovic to the inside of the number 16 of Thomas Lewandowski, the 01 of Tyler Hudson. Also trying to make things interesting as the 01 is on the back of the 60 as he tries to push him underneath the number 21, and now underneath the 16 of Thomas Lewandowski. Here comes Karlovic.
Brian Blackford working his way up by Gorlinski there. Looks like those old tires are real. Oh, we have trouble. Sheehan spinning down the corner number 3.
Steve Sheehan in the number 6. What a tough break for him as he gets going again, but the caution flag will fly here as he gets into the wall fairly good into that corner number 3.
Yeah, he was spinning down the straightaway, down the back straightaway. It looks like it come off corner number 2, and he was 3 wide with Overland and Brad Wright, and it looks like those cars just squeezed together, where Overland made some contact with Sheehan, and then Brad Wright had some contact there, and that just spent Sheehan spinning round and round, and up into the fence he went.
So Steve Sheehan, if he wants to get back to Atlanta Motor Speedway victory lane, he's going to have to work just a little bit harder, and that pit crew is going to have to massage that race car a little bit to get it back into racing form. Your leader is the 5 of Mike Conti. Does he decide to come on to pit road here? No, he does not. He stays out on the racetrack. In the Inside Sim Racing, number 5, 29 of Kevin King, Ray Alfala, and look who's made his way to 4th. How about Dylan Duval?
Yeah, Dylan Duval, one of those Pro Series drivers we keep talking about. He's had some pretty good runs this year. He's not been this far up to challenge for the lead, I don't think, Tim, that I can remember, but having a real good run here at Atlanta.
So a couple of drivers involved in that incident going to come down pit road, as will the 21, I believe, of John Gorlinski. So there's a couple of drivers taking this opportunity right now to head down onto pit road under this caution flag. So the 5 and 29, the 2 of Ray Alfala, the 42 of Dylan Duval, and the 16 of Thomas Lewandowski. Your top 5: Jason Karlovich, Tyler Hudson, Brian Blackford, Chad Lawton, and Brandon Cattell. Cattell is still up there in the top 10.
Yeah, he's been battling his way back. He fell back through the midpoints of this race up to this point, and he's battling his way back through up to the top 10. So doing a good job of getting that car sorted out and getting back in the top 10.
So the 6th car of Steve Sheehan, it looks like he will rejoin our field and try to pick up as many positions as he can in the closing laps of this race. Still under caution here, as I believe the lucky dog or the free pass award might go to the number 39 of Michael J. Johnson, as he is shown on my screen as the first driver 1 lap down, but I'm sure the didn't see what the lap down car was at the time of caution, so we will wait and see what the officials do end up saying there. The 5 of Mike Conti. What a season he's had so far. A youngster coming up through the Pro Series, and this is just a case or an example of a Pro Series driver coming up, and with this Pro Series coming up here, Nim, the talent in that one is deep as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. When we see it with a lot of the Pro Series drivers who are out here racing this race today, but Conti has done a great job in his rookie season here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and to be competing at this level, and to be for most of the season the only guy really taking the fight to Ray. Now we have Kevin in there and Nick taking the fight to Ray also after Ray had his problems. But if it wasn't for Conti, it would have looked like Ray's had it wrapped up all season long. But Conti has been taking the fight to him, keeping Ray honest, and he's been challenging on the track every week.
Looks like Michael J. Johnson this time by will receive the free pass. So 39 car will be back on the lead lap, as I believe the lights will shut off atop the pace car this time by. So we are just possibly 1 lap away from going back to green flag racing. We go down the back straight away as we get ready to let them loose one more time, and we talk about the camaraderie between some of these drivers. Nim, the chat within the server is starting to blow up with some caution chat, but I'm sure as the caution flag will be withdrawn, the green flag will fly. These guys will get back down to business in just a few minutes.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of kidding around goes on under the caution flags, and sometimes not some kidding around. But pretty much that's what happens under the caution flag when you're pacing around, and the track's getting cleaned up or whatever. You talk to the guys, you get to know each other. Actually, a lot of really good friendships have been made under caution flags. But it looks like this time by those friendships will be put aside for a few laps as we get ready to go green flag racing again. Pace car in, and here comes the 5 of Michael Conti. Going to lead him up to green this time. On the loud pedal, green flag flies. Michael Conti wasted no time going when the pace car left the track there. That allows Ray Alfala to move his way into the 2nd position as Kevin King got caught out a little bit there on that start.
Down the back chute we go is at 42 with Dylan Duval in position number 4. Tries to hold off Thomas Lewandowski, and the 60 at Karlovich. Stuck to the outside line now as Karlovich tries to find a spot in the line. Brian Blackford not going to let him in at 33. 33 going to try to pick up one more.
Yeah, Blackford was running up in the top 5 early on. Still having a good run. There's a lot of traffic. You got to work your way through. You kind of get caught back, and some of these drivers still having a really good run here so far, battling with Karlovich down the back straightaway.
01 of Hudson flashes the nose on the number 16 of Thomas Lewandowski. Lewandowski going to have to let him have the line here. It looks like the 01 to the inside of the Nationwide Insurance, number 16, as they go side by side. And the 01 looks to pick it up.
Yeah, he's got the advantage going down the corner number 1 there. Lewandowski lifts off the gas and falls back in the line.
Three wide as Marcus Lindsay sees a lot of action in front of him. Justin Thompson, Joshua B. Gerald, and the number 9 of Thomas Hazard. 47 of Overland. Now the 1 of Lindsay going to get involved in this one. Caution flag will fly.
Yeah, Thomas Hazard got turned on the coming out of 4 there and collected a bunch of cars.
48 and 15 involved. Those are 2 drivers that were running up front earlier in this race. The 9 car was just starting to get up to the front of the field as well. So the caution flag will fly here on lap number 109 as we will collect the field behind the pace car, and we'll see if anybody decides to come down pit road.
Heavy hit there for the 15 car. As you see, as they come off of corner number 4 there, Lewandowski got touched there by Overland. As they come off corner 4 there, took them down into Lindsay and set them around, and the 15 car taking a real heavy hit into that outside wall.
So Michael Conti is your leader, and as he goes down the back straightaway out of his windshield, he's going to see a whole lot of damaged goods in front of him. Thomas Hazard, Vinny Sansone, Alex Warren, among others, trying to catch the rear of this pacing field as Mike Conti will look to possibly hit pit road, or he will stay out on the racetrack. We will find out. Lap 110 to be completed this time by, so we will have 52 laps remaining in this race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is round number 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and Mike Conti in the 5 will be staying out on the racetrack. Ray Alfala throws a fake, 29.42, and the 01 car of Tyler Hudson will stay out on the racetrack as well. So we'll take this opportunity to step away for just a few moments' time. Go get your snacks, go get your drinks. It's going to be a fantastic 52-lap shootout to the finish. Don't go away. Welcome back, round 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Your leader is the number 5 of Mike Conti. Second belongs to Ray Alfala. Third is Kevin King. Fourth, Dylan Duvall. And Tyler Hudson in fifth, as we're going to look at a quick replay here of what brought out this last caution.
You can see there the 47 car gets together with the 48-15 car there. As they go spinning around, you see the 15 car gets heavy damage into the wall.
That's really a tough break for the number 15 of Josh Connors. I talked to Connors a little bit earlier on this afternoon, and he's usually a quiet guy, but he was fairly confident about tonight's race, and he said, I really don't want to feel overconfident, but I like what I have with my setup. And Connors with heavy damage, front end, back end. He's already one lap down. He's back on pit road. So you really have to feel for a guy like that who's trying to run for that top 25 bubble. Right now sitting 24th in the standings, and this isn't going to help his efforts to get into the top 25.
Yeah, he had a good race going tonight, and we come in a number of times stronger than we usually see him. And when you get those races, Tim, and you've raced competitively, and when you feel like you're doing really good, and maybe even better than you should, you don't want it to go bad, and sometimes it does, and that's what happened to Josh here tonight.
And it looks like he is done for the evening. So a tough break for the Ultra Force Sim at Tim's Corner Motorsports. Number 15 of Josh Connors. Michael Conti, Ray Alfali, your top two in the point standings, going to lead this field back to green with 49 laps remaining in round number 15 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Here comes the 5. Green flag flies, and look at the 01 of Tyler Hudson. Hudson looking to pick up a little bit here on this restart.
Conti real consistent on where he starts this race. He starts it again as soon as the pace car leaves pit road. The 29 car and the 2 car fighting side by side, and Hudson right behind him.
Duval to fall back a couple of spots and scare the wall off corner number 2 as well, as they all scatter down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Duval didn't want to be stuck up on the outside lane, so he backed out of it. Now he's going to challenge again. Hudson up on the outside.
Oh, Hudson in the 01, the 33 of Brian Blackford on the inside line, nose to tail, 42 to the outside, the 60 to the outside as well. Jason Karlovich, the 01, goes a little bit wide in corner number 1.
Right behind them, the 33 car and the 42 car. 33 car really loose down the inside, but he was able to hold on.
33 now has to fight with the 60, Jason Karlovich. Karlovich trying to clear him. It looks like he will, so move the number 60 Karlovich up to position number 7.
Looks like everybody's getting sorted out here, single file down the front straightaway, hopefully, to put a number of laps in. Right now working lap number 116 of 162.
98 of Justin Thompson way up in the group. Looks like he may have had a little help to get up there, but nevertheless, he is battling now with the 6 of Steve Sheehan. Sheehan, after that hit into the corner number 3 wall, it looks like that car is for the most part together as he moves up one spot on the 98. Now the 98 throws a block on the number 99 as Cyril Nussbaum just absolutely slammed the door on the French connection.
Yeah, he did, 98. And French connection, Cyril Nussbaum running 15th and 16th right now. Both very good runs for those guys. Steve Sheehan working his way back up through the field again after his second crash of the night. He's up into the 14th position already.
And 98, Justin Thompson, after being involved in a couple of incidents here this evening, it looks like he is having a decent run to rebound, I guess, from a couple of early incidents to open this race. So the 98 of Thompson knocking on the door of a top 10 run here.
Yeah, he's doing really good right now, racing up into that 14th position. Some challenging right behind him. Now the 56 car, so Joshua B. Gerald now looking up to challenge.
18 going to go around in corner number 3. Caution flag will fly here for Daniel Pope II, but a little bit of a chain reaction wreck there, Nim.
Yeah, it looks like going down to corner number 3. It looks like the 18 car went to pass the 55 car, and the 55 car just turned down across the 18 car because he didn't want to be passed there, I guess, and the 55 car turned the 18 car around.
You know, I think this really starts off corner number 2. Watch the 84 of John Adams. Adams goes a little bit loose, goes to the inside line. Chad Coleman makes a real quick pass on him. Schoenberg, I believe, was on that second groove, and he tried to cut low to maybe cross over John Adams, but never realized that the 18 of Daniel Pope was there. And really looking at it, depends on what angle you look at this replay, but the 18 it really drives it in hard, and I don't think he really anticipated the 55 to make that move. 39 gets involved in this as well, but that's a tough break for the 18 of Daniel Pope, the 55 of Schoenberg, and that's what we'll get these last few laps, because these guys are going to be going for every piece of real estate they can.
Yeah, I think Schoenberg had to check up for the cars in front of him, but he definitely knew the 18 was there. He made that move as soon as the 18 looked down low, and he cut across down the lane to get there. But he knew it was coming, and he tried to defend his position.
Well, this is interesting. Michael Conti stays out in the racetrack. Jason Karlovich stays out in the racetrack. Ray Alfalla, Kevin King on to pit road. So 2 of your 3 championship contenders take the opportunity to come on to pit road now. And there's not a whole lot of drivers that stayed out here, Nim. I don't know if I really like the call on the number 5.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We saw that Gorlinski tried this earlier on, and Gorlinski's aggressive on old tires, and he's pretty good at doing that. I'm sure Conti is pretty good at it also, but it's definitely a disadvantage doing so.
And when you look at this race, we still have 42, we'll likely have 41 laps to go when we go green flag racing here. So Mike Conti is still going to have the older tires for another 40 laps, and he's, I don't know how old the tires are that are currently on that race car, but it's going to be an uphill battle, I think, for him, as he's only going to have 5 or 6 cars worth of buffer room before you go back to the guys like Kevin King and Dylan Duval and Ray Alfalla. Alfalla, that time by the line, scored in position number 9, and I believe there might be 1 or 2 more in front of him that did decide to come down pit road. So it's likely going to be 9th or so for Ray Alfalla when we go green. So Conti going to have a little bit of buffer room if he gets these quick cautions like we have been getting. This might play into Conti's hands.
Yeah, it could. As you said, whenever Ray or the points leaders or the guys who are running really strong in the race get back in the pack for some reason, anything can happen. And you're certainly right. Ray's back there, 9th position. We've seen how hard these guys are racing and how crazy it is out there tonight. Anything can happen right back there. And coming, out of this situation, we might be talking about a new point leader if Ray's not careful.
So we worked the caution on 121 of 162, and as Nim mentioned, 2 races left in the series. 2 weeks' time, we head to Chicagoland, and 2 weeks following that, we head to the Homestead Miami Speedway. So it's going to be down to the wire to figure out who's going to win this championship. Right now, as it stands, if the race were to end now, and obviously it's not, Michael Conti would be gaining some more points here. I'm not sure, Nim, if he's led the most laps yet or not this evening, but there would be an extra point if he can get that one as well. It's going to go down to the wire here in the 2012 season.
Yeah, it definitely is. Actually, it's getting closer and closer the further we go. As we thought Ray had it handled, and it's a big battle now as they go down into the last 2 races of the season. So anything can happen from here, as we saw last week. And Ray's been strong all season long, but Conti's right there, Kevin's right there, and any one of those 3 drivers could be a championship be the champion coming out of the season.
So we go down the back straightaway with the pace car lights off. So next time by, we will be letting them loose once again for another 40 laps of competition here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Conti and now Karlovich on the outside line. Karlovich won at Michigan, trying to go 2 for 2 in this series.
Lap number 122, this time by 40 laps to go. And the pace car will leave the track, and watch Conti. If he does everything he's done so far, he'll go as soon as the pace car goes. So everybody behind him should be anticipating that and be able to get a good start.
Yeah, he's going to do the same thing again. Green flag flies. Look at the 47 of Overland. All over the back bumper, the 60 of Karlovich. 47 and 55 of Schoenberg in the top 5 for the first time here this evening. As here comes the 16 on the 47-47. Tries to find a place in line. Looks like he will.
Yeah, he's got a challenge by Josh Berry up there on the outside. Overland kind of squeezed Berry up there a little bit. Berry gets into the outside wall and falls back a number of spots.
55 and 60 side by side for position number 3 is John Gorlinski. Runs in position number 2, but look at Ray Alfalla. He's going to be Superman on these new tires as he goes underneath the 47 of Chris Overland. 2 car coming to the front.
Yeah, 2 car down there on the inside of Overland. Now he's in really tight traffic. Right, Kevin King right there in back of him. He's got a lot of cars. And now looking to the inside. Who is that back there? I believe that's the Og 1 car of Tyler Hudson looking to the inside of the ball.
And Brian Blackford as well, looking for something to happen there on the number 42 as the number 2 of Ray Alfala continues to carve his way to the front of the field. The 16 of Thomas Lewandowski now goes to the outside line, and Schoenberg now in front of your championship leader, Ray Alfala.
Yeah, Alfala wants out of the traffic, and Schoenberg and the cars in front of him are really holding him up right now as they're on those older tires. You see Schoenberg running the inside line down there. He doesn't want to give Alfala a chance to get to the inside. Oh, we got trouble in the back.
Caution flag will fly here for an incident on the racetrack involving the 98 at Justin Thompson. The 14 at Brandon Cattell, after having a great run as well, is going to be involved in this one. And I believe it starts with the 26 and 14. 2 of their Pro Series drivers, and I'm going to stack up a lot of DWC guys.
Yeah, it looks like it started back there with the 26 car as the 14. As they were going down the corner number 1, the 26 car was up on the outside, and he thought he had an inside lane to try to move in there. And he cut down in front of the 14 car, and that sent a bunch of cars around.
'98 at Justin Thompson goes for a wild ride, and after we mentioned earlier, after being involved in the first couple of yellow flags in this race, it looks like Thompson's night might be over, and if it's not over, it's going to be spent with a couple of minutes on pit road. Here's the one thing that I see, though, Nim. This might be a blessing in disguise for Nick Ottinger. Ottinger, I believe, is going to get the lucky dog here, the wave around here to get back 1 lap down, which would put him one of the first drivers 1 lap down when we go back to green, which means if we get one more caution, Ottinger would be back on the lead lap, and we'll try to pick up positions. Keep in mind, he was 8 laps down earlier in this race.
Yeah, definitely true. It looks like, and he's done a really good job of working his way back through the field. Looks like Richard Doucette's day is going to be done with this incident also, as he's got a lot of motor trouble, and a number of cars really heavily damaged, even more heavily damaged than some of the wrecks that we saw early on in this race. So there's a real heavy crash. Grinder in 3 and 4 that time.
So the 5 car of Michael Conti continues to lead. And I was about to make a point there that 55 of Brian Schoenberg, we talk about Schoenberg being aggressive here. These guys are trying to find that pit strategy here and keep themselves, if not a top 5 finish, Nim, as close to the front as they can. And you got to give a call out to Schoenberg and the 16 of Thomas Lewandowski and the 60 of Karlovic. Those guys are trying to hold off those guys with new tires, and looks like the 2 of Ray Alfala. If he can get some green flag running in here, he might not be too bad. Michael Conti's hoping that we get, caution after caution possibly to keep these guys back in the field.
And he wants to see Ray have to work his way through that traffic to get back up there. We saw Ray make some pretty good challenges down to the inside during those few green flag laps there. But we'll have to see. A lot of these guys are trying to wait as long as they can to get a caution flag again, and be on the same pit cycle as everybody else who will need to pit. And we've seen that strategy work for a number of times for a couple different drivers. But to stay up there, you got to have a good setup and a good fast car, or be up there at the end where you can try to capitalize on being there, just at the end and see how pit strategy plays out. And right now we have about 38 laps to go, something like that, 36 laps to go. So still a decent distance as far as when you're thinking about tires. We don't have to go, or we have enough fuel to go the rest of the way. But with tires, if we go another 10 or 15 laps, they'll pit again for tires.
There's Nick Ottinger's wave around, so he will be 1 lap down. But there will be some drivers that were involved in this caution flag with some damage, so he might have to race a couple of guys to get that last lap back in the 05 Remus Chevrolet. As 128 being worked on the board, your leader is Michael Conti in the 5, and he's trying to pick up some extra points to get closer to Ray Alfala in the race to $10,500.
Everybody doubles up. We'll go green next time bound and start on lap 130. So 33 laps to go when we get the green flag.
And looking back here right now, and I'm just looking at the Nick Ottinger one lap down situation. It looks like Ottinger right now might be the only driver that's going to be scored as one lap down. Justin Thompson, Pedro Mojica, they're both off the racetrack right now. So that might be good for Ottinger at this point in the race.
Yeah, he's done a good job of trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And with one more caution, he may be able to do a really good job getting a lot of those points back. Remember, Nick Ottinger, 4th in points coming into this race. He's got the next person behind is Patrick Baldwin, who is 25 points behind him.
And right now, Patrick Baldwin running in position number 20 right now. So there's quick math. There's about a dozen points there. So that would be half of the advantage that Ottinger currently has on him if the race were to end right here. But I'm sure we're going to have one more caution. It's just a matter of when it does happen. Pace car going to go into the infield right here as the 5 puts the hammer down. Green flag flies, and once again he's quick to the throttle. It's side by side for position number 3 as Schoenberg on the outside, Karlovic on the inside.
And one thing you saw is Berlinski's smart about this. He knows when Conti's going to go, and he was right there with him when he went. Schoenberg was the same as they come around the corner, but Schoenberg not able to make his way around Karlovic that time.
.40 car spins. Josh Lawton gets collected by Charles Cosper and the 56 and Joshua B. Gerald, and this will bring out another caution flag.
Yeah, and a lot of the cars heavily damaged on this one. It looked like going down the back straightaway, the 40 car had a run on Chris Overland. Overland moved down the block, and that got the 40 car out of shape. And the 56 car went up and had heavy contact. Charles Cosper there got involved. It looks like the 56 car is going to be out of this race, as you see going down the back straightaway. The 40 car and the 47 car there. The 40 car may have just reacted to the 47 car there and got lost.
Yeah, we've seen Chris in the past be a little bit aggressive, and I believe he's might have thrown a couple of blocks in this race already, but I'm not saying that's an uncharacteristic thing of this field. There's some guys that are throwing blocks on others in this event, and that's just the way that this race seems to be going here, Nim, especially on a restart, because these guys are bunched up together. And it's a prerogative on most restarts and most short tracks and racing in North America for ovals. You're bunched up together. The mentality is, I can pick up a few positions on this restart. And they go like heck, and we saw it there, and it didn't work for a couple of our drivers.
Yeah, it looks like the 47 car maybe got on the wall a little bit. He had the lift coming out of corner number 2. That's what allowed the cars behind to get a run. And you kind of ease down. You don't want to lose those positions, and it's just the nature of everybody to ease down and try to block those cars behind, and that's what happened. But even with that move, it's kind of weird the way the 40 car lost it going around there.
So we close in on the final 30 laps of this race, and that's the caution that Nick Ottinger wanted. This should put Ottinger back on the lead lap of this race. So here we go. Ottinger, we'll see how many positions he can gain in this final stint of this event.
Looks like some tempers are a little bit high here tonight. It's just almost like a short track race here tonight, Tim, with the amount of rubbing we saw going on. And we talked about it earlier. This track leads to a lot of really close side-by-side racing just because of the banking and the nature of the track that leads into that, side-by-side. You can do it so everybody does it, and, then you have incidents like this. But some temperatures going over here tonight just as we were at a short track. Working lap one, we're 133 right now, just 30 laps to go that time by. Still a couple more laps under caution. Don't forget to visit. If you're not a member of iRacing.com, don't forget to visit www.iracing.com, and you can sign up to try out iRacing.com and buy 1 month and get 2 months free, so a total of 3 months for the price of one. And you can check out all the different series that we have. You can race legend cars and sprint cars. If you're into the oval series, you can race the legend cars, sprint cars, street stocks, on up into the Camping World Truck Series trucks, the Chevy Silverado truck, and then the Nationwide car in the B Series, and then on up into the A Series where you race the Chevy Impala that you see racing out here today. If your flavor is road racing, we've got that covered too. You can start out in the Mazda MX-5, race on up into they got the Skip Barber Racing Series in there, and the Skip Barber car, and the Spec Racer Ford. You have the Mustang, and we have the IZOD IndyCar cars, the Formula Mazda cars. We also have the Riley prototype cars that race with the Mustang every week, and we have the prototype cars for road racing also. So plenty of road racing and oval racing here at iRacing.com, and all our tracks are laser scanned, all accurate within a millimeter of wherever you're seeing. So head on over to iRacing.com. You can check out the cars and tracks there and get more detail of exactly what the content is, and we'd love to see you on the track.
And we're getting ready to see some racing on track as Michael Conti going to lead this field back to green in a half lap. John Gorlinski on the outside, Karlovich, Schoenberg, and Lewandowski are top five. So that pit strategy really working for some of these guys here, Nim, is they're banking on cautions. They're getting cautions. Ray Alfala sits in position number 7 right now, or check that position number 6 right now. So it's working for those top guys. Michael Conti still has 4 cars of buffer room before he hits the number 2 of Ray Alfala. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car getting ready to head off here. 1:34 in the book this time by Michael Conti. Leads them back to green.
Gorlinski does a good job. He's the best car there on that second position that we've seen for a while up there. He knows that Conti's going to go when the green comes out, and he goes when he knows it's going to happen, and he's able to stay up there and challenge. Usually we see the third place car have that advantage on the restarts.
Oh, Gorlinski, great run by the 21. He's going to go all the way down to the white line, and Gorlinski going to mount a charge for the lead. 21 on the 5, side by side for the lead as they work at a corner number 4. Here comes the Degree for Men Chevrolet. John Gorlinski looking to pick up the lead.
Remember we talked about earlier how well Gorlinski does on the older tires. Conti also on the older tires. He's fighting hard up on the outside line, doing a really good job on the outsides. We got some smokers going down the back straightaway.
Oh, 60 at Karlovich. Is he going to do it? He's going to go to the inside and possibly try to pick up the second place position here on the 5, as we have a smoker. That's a 40 of Jake Sturgis on the inside of the racetrack, as here comes 60. Jason Karlovich starting to make his move as Gorlinski goes to lead.
Can Karlovich make it 2 in a row? Oh, and Karlovich goes to the inside. Gorlinski blocks, and Karlovich saves it.
Lewandowski didn't save it, though. Lewandowski around, and the caution flag will fly, and it was bound to happen there in him, but what a save by the number 60.
Yeah, Karlovich did a really great job saving it, but Ray moved up the track a little bit, trying to get around that car. And him and Lewandowski got together, and that sent Lewandowski up in the wall. And Lewandowski, nothing he could do, was spinning around in front of the field.
And through all of this, the number 2 of Ray Alfala, where does he sit? Yeah, that's right, position number 3 for Ray Alfala. Behind your leader, John Gorlinski, and the 5 of Mike Conti.
You know, Lewandowski did a really good job after he spun up in the wall there. He did a really good save after that, which saved a lot of guys from behind.
So now the 21 will control this restart here. The 5 of Mike Conti, he's been going on every single restart when the pace car goes off. The 21 kind of caught up to his tricks, and now he is in control of the lead. If I'm John Gorlinski, where do I start this race here, Nim? Do I start it when the pace car pulls off, or do I wait a little bit and maybe fool these guys?
Well, if anybody out here is unpredictable, it's Gorlinski, and trying to figure out what he's going to do. It's what everybody's trying to do right now, and nobody's going to succeed at. Gorlinski's going to be very different, which is probably the most accurate thing you can say. So he may go when the pace car leaves. He may not. We'll have to wait and see. But if anybody out here is unpredictable, it's Gorlinski.
Fourth place belongs to Kevin King right now. Kevin King in that fourth place spot in the point standings, or third place spot in the point standings, fourth in the racetrack. He's looking to gain a little bit here on Mike Conti, but it's kind of hard when Conti's leading laps and ahead of you on the racetrack. So we'll have to watch and see if Kevin King has anything up his sleeve. And Jason Karlovich, that wild card here, still in position number 5, looking for the second straight victory. And after that save, fifth place has to be comforting for that number 60.
Yeah, no kidding. That was some kind of save going down the corner there, as he did get blocked as he went down to the inside of Gorlinski, and that kind of sent him around. But what a save that was. And hopefully he didn't hurt the tires too much, which he probably didn't. I don't think he slammed on the brakes there. So he's probably in good shape there. I believe he's running the 6th spot right now, so that'll put him in the outside of the 3rd row on this restart. So we'll see if he can't get those spots back.
Nick Ottinger has moved up to position number 20 now in this event. So the 05 of Ottinger up to position number 20 after being 8 laps down earlier. He is back on the lead lap. And we talked about that nearest competitor in the points for him, Patrick Baldwin, is sitting in position number 15. So Baldwin only looking to gain a handful of points now compared to possibly a dozen or more earlier in this event. Let's give one more shout out to our Twitter followers. Hashtag Atlanta NiSWC. $25 for the most creative tweet sent in and judged by our PSR TV staff. So once again, hashtag Atlanta NiSWC. You only have about 20 laps or so before we crown a winner there. We're getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, but before we do, let's step away for just a few moments' time. We'll be back with some Green Flag Racing. Welcome back to the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, round number 15 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Your leader is John Gorlinski with Michael Conti in second, Alfala King Schoenberg top 5, as we will go Green Flag Racing this time by, and we will have 21 laps remaining when we see the green silk. Can John Gorlinski hold on to this, Nim?
He could, especially if we get a lot of caution flags. If we don't get a lot of caution flags, I don't think so. I think that Ray's coming and some guys on fresher tires that are going to be that are just faster in general. But Ray's right there behind him, and Gorlinski will be able to hold on if we get a lot of caution flags from here on out. But it's going to be tough for him to do.
So the pace car will head to the infield once again. The Degree for Men Chevrolet will put the hammer down. Where does he restart this race? He's going to wait a little bit here. Green flag flies, and the 21 of Gorlinski is gone. The 5 of Conti and the 2 of Alfala, your 2 championship contenders, go side by side for the lead.
Yeah, that was real smart start on Gorlinski. He saw Conti kind of creeping up on his left side, and as soon as Conti's car slowed down just a little bit, that's when he took off, and that gave the advantage to Ray, as Ray moves to the inside going down the back straightaway with Conti right behind him.
2 of Alfala, 2 of Conti, and the 2 of Alfala, your 2 championship contenders, go side by side for the lead. Yeah, that was real smart start on Gorlinski. He saw Conti kind of creeping up on his left side, and as soon as Conti's car slowed down just a little bit, that's when he took off, and that gave the advantage to Ray, as Ray moves to the inside going down the back straightaway with Conti right behind him. They scatter behind as Tyler Hudson tries to pick up a spot on Brian Blackford. Blackford on the outside and falling back, this time by 20 laps remaining for the 21.
20 laps to go. A lot of heavy fighting. Dylan Duvall down on the inside of Tyler Hudson going down to the corner number 1. Duvall can't do it and has to back out.
33, 55 is Schoenberg, all kinds of sideways, and the 01 of Tyler Hudson going to get turned by Josh Berry, and this is going to bring out a caution.
Yeah, it started coming off of corner number 2 with Schoenberg and Hudson as they went down the back straightaway. Looked like Schoenberg got out of shape, and then Hudson had nowhere to go, and he got out of shape, and then finally went around.
Yeah, it looked like the 01 might have had it saved, but the 72 decided he was going to use the loud pedal and get into the back of the 01, and really there was nowhere to go for either of these drivers that were involved in this. And the 91 is going to take a heavy lick to the outside wall, and then he's going to go to the inside wall too. So might need a medic out there for Byron Daly.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to go down to the infield care center and check on Byron Daly down there, but that was a heavy hit in corner number 3 that time. But nice thing about racing here at iRacing.com, everybody walks away.
And it looks like when he hit the wall, he got hit by another competitor too, which kind of helped the impact of the inside. And actually, that was the 05 of Ottinger. The 05 of Nick Ottinger was the one that got involved there too. The tough break for Nick Ottinger, who worked really hard to get back on the lead lap, and it looks like his race might very well be done for the evening.
That was an ugly crash for Byron Daly that time, and I'm sure one that he's going to put on his highlight reel. But yeah, going down the back straightaway, everybody's close. It's the end of the race, and a couple cars get sideways, and that's one thing we noticed with this new setups and the tire model here. They can get sideways, and they can save them. But sometimes you just go over that edge and just lose it. Hudson gets away with it pretty clean. He got a little bit of damage to the front end of his car when somebody swept by, when Byron Daly went by him and he clipped his front end. But no real heavy hits for Tyler Hudson, as a couple of cars are throwing black smoke. Thomas Lewandowski's day is going to be done, as well as the I believe it's the 05 car to Ottinger. His day is going to be done after all that battling back through the field.
Yeah, Ottinger did a lot of riding around and working to get back on the lead lap of this race, and now it looks like it's all for naught with less than 20 laps to go. Your leader is the 21 of John Gorlinski. The 2 of Ray Alfala has found his way to second. Michael Conti in position number 3, with Kevin King and Jason Karlovich completing your top 5. Blackford, Duvall, Schoenberg, Sheehan, Berry shown as your top 10.
Well, we got time. We'll go a little bit further down here. In the top 20 is 11th Patrick Baldwin, Lindsay 12th, Cyril Nussbaum 13th, really good run for Cyril up there. Chad Coleman having a good run up in the 14th position. Landon Harrison 15th, Vinny Sansone, a couple of incidents early on, in 16th right now. Andrew Fash, the third, running 17th. Alex Warren, after some damage and being some laps down early on, he's up into the 18th position. John Adams, a number of incidents tonight. I think they all had a number of incidents tonight, Tim. He's 19th. Tyler Hudson, after that spin, finds himself in the 20th position.
Robert Hall in position number 21. 22 was Chris Overland, and 23rd is Michael J. Johnson, currently completing your drivers on the lead lap. That'll be added by 1. Charles Cosper will be receiving your free pass. He will be back on the lead lap in 24th. Thomas Lewandowski 1 lap down in 25th. Nick Ottinger shown as 2 laps down in 26th. Byron Daly shown 2 laps down in 27th. And Brandon Bookberger shown 2 laps down as well. Chris Main in the number 38, 5 laps down, as is Jake Sturgis in the number 41.
Brandon Cattell, a lot of promise early on, qualified up front there. He's 31st right now. Looks like he's out of the race. Daniel Pope, the second, 32nd. Joshua B. Gerald, 33rd. Joshua Lofton, 34th. Justin Thompson, 35th. Pedro Mojica, 36th. Richard Doucette, 37th. Chad Lofton, 38th. Brad Wright, 39th. Josh Connors, 40th. Ran out your field. Thomas Hazard, 41st. Patrick Fogel, 42nd. Richie Davidowitz rounds out the field, and 107 laps down in 43rd position.
So we will go back to green flag here with 147 laps completed when we do take the green flag. So see if John Gorlinski can hold on to this one here with the 2 of Ray Alfalo to the outside, the 5 of Mike Conti. It might work in Conti's favor here as he will start behind the number 21 of Gorlinski.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, the 21 car did on that last start. Ray really didn't have anything for him, but we didn't have a real long distance to go there. So we'll see if Ray can be with the 21 car on this restart and take the challenge to him. Conti's right there, Kevin King's right there. So your top 3 and points are working second, third, and fourth.
We'll see if the number 2 on the outside line can hang with the number 21 of John Gorlinski on this restart. 162 laps in this race. We're going to complete the 147th here, and look at 5 of Conti to the back bumper of the 21. Let's get going with this one. Green flag flies and the 21 is gone.
Yeah, 21 car gets a big jump out front. Conti moves in the second spot. Ray Alfalo third. Right there is Brian Blackford again in a green number 33 car down the inside being challenged by Kevin King.
Blackford and King side by side for position as here comes the 42 and the 60 side by side.
Yeah, battle is back for the 4th position right there. Blackford to the inside of King, and right behind them is Duvall and Karlovich, the Pro Series drivers, battling for that 5th and 6th spot.
What a great show these guys are putting on as King takes the spot over Blackford. Karlovich to the outside, the 42 with Duvall trying to make something happen here. 42 with Duvall to the inside of the number 60 of Jason Karlovich.
Karlovich still working that outside line with Duvall down the inside. Karlovich right up against the outside wall as they come around corner number 4. Duvall down on the inside has that position. Any advantage going to corner number 1 is Brian Schoenberg. Gets touched by the 72, and that moves him up the track.
I'm sure Schoenberg is not too happy with that. So as we look at the lead, here comes Gorlinski, and here comes the number 5 and 2 of Alfalo. Oh, it's going to get exciting here coming down to the final few laps.
Battle up front. The 5's looking to the inside on the 21 car of John Gorlinski as they start number 151. So 12 laps to go from here. Down to the inside. It looks like Conti's got that run going down the back straightaway. Alfalo's going to follow him through.
Yeah, Michael Conti wants this win really badly. 21 of Gorlinski just in front of the youngster in the 5. The 2 of Alfalo closes in on Michael Conti as they go side by side for 5th as Blackford trying to hold off the number 42.
Yeah, it looks like Conti wants the inside lane. Gorlinski's not going to give it to him. If Conti wants to make a move, Gorlinski's telling him you got to go high as they go around the track here, and Gorlinski holds that inside line.
It's not a short track by far and in, but 5 car of Conti gets a little bit of a run there. 2 of Alfalo. Oh, the 5 playing a little bit of defense there down the back straightaway. I was just about to say this is far from a short track, but if you're Mike Conti, do you consider using a bump and run of the 21 here in the late stages?
Well, I don't know. I think the track can work up on the outside. With I think Gorlinski's speed. Now Gorlinski's actually doing a little bit better. It might be harder to make an outside pass, but early on there, I might have tried the outside.
Alfalo trying to make a move on the 5 of Mike Conti. 2 to the inside as he looks to pick up position number 2. Gorlinski has to be loving this as the pressure is off. The number 21 right now. 2 of Alfalo to the inside.
Conti doing a great job of holding off the challenges of Ray Alfalo that time by. Will hold on to that second position and now take the battle back to the 21 car of John Gorlinski.
Kevin King and Dylan Duvall look like they're going to put a war on themselves as the 5 of Conti blocks the 2 of Alfalo down to the apron.
Yeah, I think we've seen more blocking in this race, and we've seen all season long, but the Conti able to make it, and Ray went up and gave him a tap on the rear bumper, letting him know he didn't like it. You got to be careful with that, as we saw a number of drivers with that front bumper, rear bumper contact actually lose it there, so they'll have to be careful with that. But these 2 drivers battling all season long, and it's coming right down to it here at the end of Atlanta.
5 trying to pick up a couple of points on Alfalo to make things interesting in these final 2 races of the season. Meanwhile, out in front, John Gorlinski beginning to inch away with round number 15 of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. If Conti can possibly play a little offense here instead of defense, he might be able to catch that number 21, but that 21's been solid all race long.
Yeah, he has been. He's been in the back of the pack, and he's had some issues, but he's used great strategy to get himself in the position he's in now as Conti again blocks down the back straightaway. Alfala looking to the inside, and Conti's not letting him have it. He shuts the door.
One of the unwritten rules in stock car racing, Nim, is you block, you pay. If these guys continue to block, I'm sure one of them is going to pay and end up in the fence.
Yeah, once you throw the block, that means that your rear bumper, if you're using the rear bumper to hold your position, then the guy in back of you can use the rear bumper to gain that position. Theoretically, obviously, they don't want to intentionally wreck each other or anything like that, especially with the battle these guys have had all season long. But the battle now is side by side for second position. Alfala on the inside, Conti on the outside.
Michael Conti needs to get a run off corner number 4 here to put that number 2 behind him. He doesn't get the run that he needs as Duval behind. Blocking Kevin King. That might be a wreck in the making here as the 42 and 29 are nose to tail.
Yeah, as they battle side by side for second, the 42 is blocking down to the grass on the front straightaway. He was actually down in the grass blocking, not letting King down to the inside.
2 once again to the inside of the 5 of Mike Conti as Ray Alfala tries to take second. I believe he's got it here. What a drive in the middle of the corner for Ray Alfala. Alfala to second.
Starting lap number 159 here, 4 laps to go from this point on. Alfala takes over that second position. We'll see if he can't take the challenge of Gorlinski.
Does Ray have anything left in the tank? Ray Alfala looking to capture another championship this season, and it's runs like this that create champions. But the 5 of Mike Conti, does he have anything left? He tries to close in on Alfala, tries to get those 2 tires on the apron there, maybe getting a little bit of a pull around this racetrack.
Back there in the 6th position is Jason Karlovich. He's fighting with the 29 car of Kevin King right now. Not able to make anything happen this time.
So watch that battle for 4th as Duval and King go at it, and Karlovich also there. Blackford looking to pounce as well as they go by the lap car, the 84 of John Adams on the outside line. This time by 2 laps remaining for the number 21 of John Gorlinski.
2 laps to go. Alfala not there yet, but he's within 3 car lengths. He's getting a little bit of aerodynamic push, as they call it right now. The closer he gets, the harder it is to get to him just because of the aerodynamics effect. But Gorlinski, with that tire strategy, he's got his car out front. He's used it twice this race, and both times he's put his car up in position to gain a lot of spots, and now he's in the lead on older tires than Alfala has.
White flag, 1 lap to go for the number 21 and John Gorlinski. Can the 2 of Ray Alfala catch him? The 5 of Michael Conti is there in 3rd.
Nothing this time going in corner number 1. We'll see if he can't get some momentum and go down the back straight and make a challenge in 3 and 4.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. The number 21 of John Gorlinski leads the 2 of Ray Alfala, the 5 of Mike Conti. Duval King, complete your top 5. This time by up at a corner number 4. They'll see the checkered flag in the wind. The Degree for Men Chevrolet goes to victory lane in round 15. John Gorlinski is your winner. Alfala in 2nd. 3rd belongs to Mike Conti. 4th is Dylan Duval, and completing your top 5 is Kevin King.
Jason Karlovich brings her home in the 6th spot. Brian Blackford 7th. Steve Sheehan 8th. Josh Berry 9th. And then Brian Schoenberg rounds out the top 10.
Look at Patrick Baldwin in position number 11. After we talked about him and Ottinger battling for position number 4 in the standings, Ottinger finishes 30th and Patrick Baldwin finishes 11th. Big gain for the number 52 car as John Gorlinski gets ready to light him up here on the front straightaway, and we will set up for our post-race show where we will talk to your top 5 finishers. Race fans, don't go away. Round 15 from Atlanta, post-race coming up next. Welcome back to the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship round number 15 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. John Gorlinski is your winner of round number 15, and he is down in victory lane with your series co-host here, Nimcross.
I'm here with John Gorlinski. John, you pulled off the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tell us how you got there.
I don't know. That was lucky, I guess. Last year, I'll start with last year because it's been a long time. I had like a baller setup for Atlanta. I dominated everyone, and everything was great. And we come around this year, and as far as I'm concerned, the track's broke because we're going like 4 seconds faster than the real Cup cars. So I was on hiatus this week, just self-protesting because I didn't like the track. So I showed up tonight. My teammates hooked me up with a setup, and I did everything as bad as I possibly could, and managed to come out with the lead at the end. And Ray and Conti were brawling, and I just managed to run smooth laps. And Ray didn't have enough time to catch me by the time he got by. I don't know how I won this race. I was backwards down the front stretch on like the third lap, and I thought I was done because I thought we were gonna go green all the way, and I was wrong.
Tell us about the tire. You used an unusual tire strategy 2 weeks ago at Michigan, and then we saw you a couple times here tonight use tire strategy to get you those track position. So tell us about that.
Well, I started the race okay. It was hard for me to pass. A couple other people could pass, but I couldn't. And after Hudson got in me there, I was dead last. So I figured, what the heck, I couldn't pass for 34th after that. So I just stayed out, and it worked out pretty good. I fell back to I think 7th or so. And, I mean, I'll take 7th over 33rd any day. And I knew it would work then. And I managed to shuffle myself out of pit strategy really bad later on in the race. And then we got towards the end there, and I was like, well, I put 40 tape on, and I realized that was a terrible mistake. So I came in when no one else came in with like 57 to go, popped off, took the tape back off, knew I was good to the end, and it just so happened when everything worked out, everyone else came back in, and I was essentially the first car that didn't pit, except I think Conti and Karlovich. And I was on a little bit older tires, but I knew if I could time the restart with Conti there at the end, I could probably cross him over off of turn 2 and, just hope we both came out the other end in one piece. And somehow we did, and I I gotta think. I don't know. I was pretty lucky tonight, I guess.
Well, lucky and good. That's what we saw. You made a lot of good strategies to get it up front there. Tell us about any close calls, and tell us about what you think about going into these last two races, as this finish may have gotten you up into one of the paid positions, top 12 in points. And what's your forecast for Chicagoland coming
up? Hopefully more of the same. Some good luck. That was at the end of last season. I went on a tear, and I mean it'd be nice to do it on this season. I just had such a dismal beginning part of the season. I kind of threw in the towel for a little bit, and I'm trying to claw my way back up. But if I get into the money, I do. If I don't, I'm not gonna be too disappointed. I kind of had to write this season off. I just personally, I was hoping we were going to Talladega next week because we've already done Chicago, but I guess we're not. The way the setups are on intermediates now, everyone's got essentially the same thing. It's tooth and nail to get a position. As you saw tonight, I mean, everybody, myself included, were just blocking all the way down to the apron because it's so hard to pass. And you're probably going to see the same thing roll into Chicago, I guess, with a couple less drivers. I'm sure someone's getting parked for next week.
All right, John. Well, congratulations on your win in Atlanta. Tell us who makes it happen for you.
I thank my mom and dad. I don't even know if they watch these anymore. I think my girlfriend Amy, JRM, Schoenberg, and Conti have been kind of in our little technical alliance lately, so they've been helping us out. Just everybody at the drill aisle. Just everybody. I mean, this stuff's so much fun to do. Even if sometimes you get burned out, it's fun to show up and just race hard. And I pride myself on being able to race the hell out of anybody and not crash them. So hopefully they feel the same way.
Well, congratulations, John. Win in Atlanta and you're in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. We'll see you in 2 weeks in Chicago and see if you can make it 2 in a row there.
Thank you.
I'm going to throw it over to Tim Terry, who's caught up with your championship leader, Ray Alfalla.
Ray Alfalla comes home with position number 2. First, let's talk about the battle between you and Mike Conti there in the closing laps.
Yeah, that was fun. It's just so tough to pass here with the insane amount of grip we have, and I had a little bit fresher tires, and I was just trying to get a run off the corner enough to where he didn't have time to go back down, and fortunately that led to John just pulling away. So it was a lot of fun to be racing out there, and a lot better than sitting at home without any power.
And let's talk about a little bit of pit strategy there in the closing laps. You guys come down pit road, and Mike Conti stays out on the racetrack along with a few others, and you're stuck back in position number 9. What's going through your mind there in that pit stop sequence?
I think I would have been all right if we wouldn't have gotten so many yellows. Tires were pretty important until you started heat cycling, and then everybody sort of got equal. So I wasn't too worried about being in 9th, but after all the yellows, I was just hoping to get back to 2nd at least. So it sort of evened out, I guess.
And a good point tonight here, closing in on 2 laps to go, or 2 races to go here. Mike Conti is in this picture as well. Kevin King is back there with a distance shot as well. This championship picture looks like it's going to go down to the wire.
Yep. 2 races to go. Luckily we don't have any, troublesome tracks. We had like 15 yellows tonight, so you can't really say Chicago won't be bad, but I think it was pretty good the first time we went here this season, and I run well there, so it should be a good race for me.
And you have some sponsors on this race car that help you get to the track each week. Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, I want to thank Pro Consulting, also JDR Graphics. Thank all the guys at JRM and also J Show for their help. And I want to wish my dad a happy birthday. His birthday was Sunday. Told him I'd get him a win, but fell a little close there. But 2nd is pretty good, and 2 races to go, so looking forward to that. And Chicago should be fun.
It's going to be exciting to watch that number 2 car next week, or 2 weeks' time at Chicagoland. That's Ray Alfalla, and Nim, I believe you've caught up with the 2nd place point man and 3rd place this evening, Michael Conti.
Down here with Michael Conti. Michael, another good run for you. Came up just short with a little bit there with Ray, but a great battle there at the end of the race, side by side with Ray for a number of laps. Tell us about that battle.
Well, I wouldn't call it great. because it's frustrating to me as a driver. I think everyone else that we're put into that box where you have to block that heavily unless you want to get freight trains. So I raced Ray clean when the roles were reversed, and he raced me clean as well. And he had a little bit fresher tires there at the end, and I think he was able to preserve them a little bit more than I could, and he was able to get by me. But good win for John. He definitely deserved that. He hasn't had the best of luck this season, so it's good to see him finally get one. But we had a good car tonight. I truly believe that I had the car to beat on the long run, especially when we got out with clean air. So it's just unfortunate. You would think Atlanta would be similar to the last race we had at Michigan, where we went caution-free, but it seems like everyone's heads were kind of unscrewed tonight, and there was 15 cautions. So it's a lot of hit or miss right now in the series, and I hope next time we race at Chicago, we can do a little bit better than we did tonight, because I know we're better than what everyone saw tonight, and the racing tonight and what people were doing was not indicative of what this series is about. And like I said, I can only hope that we can move on from this and go to Chicago and put on a better show for everyone watching.
You've been running real strong in the last couple of races. Obviously, you've been running real strong all season long since you've been fighting with the championship. But it seems like the last couple of races, you're up there fighting for the lead, and you're taking it to Ray and giving him a good battle. Tell us what's changed in your team or your driving that's got you up there challenging for the wins.
Well, I'd like to say it's me driving that's doing it, but I can't. What happened was, we got the new build quite a few weeks ago now, and in a collaboration with my team, J Show, and then JRM with Ray and all them, we were able to get the setups better. We were able to find a few things before they were unveiled to everyone on the forum. So we had a little bit of advantage then. I still think we got some of the best cars out there right now, and I think everyone has stepped it up on my team to get me the best equipment that we can supply, and Ray's right there with me, and Ray and I'd like to think that we helped each other a little bit this week. I think our teams gelled real well this week, and the setups are just great. I mean, it was fun to drive tonight. I really wish we could have gotten a long run, because that's what I was set up for, but unfortunately the setup didn't get to show. But it's just a great job. Jason Loafing does a great job with them. I went a little bit different route this week, and I think it paid off in the long run. So I'm proud of myself for putting something like that together, and I'm happy that we can be up there up front every week like that.
Simple question: can you beat Ray?
Well, I was really hoping that I could get out of here with some points on Ray, and it was really looking like that with all the cautions we had at the end there, but unfortunately we ended up both getting 43 points, so I'm still 25 behind him, and 25 in 2 races is going to be tough hill to climb. But like we saw tonight, Ray almost got junked a couple times, and if I was back there, I probably would have been in the same predicament. So you just don't know what's going to happen. You can get involved in someone else's mess, so I don't expect to outrun Ray by 12 or 13 positions the next couple weeks, but it's going to be a good battle. I'm going to be bringing my A game, and he's going to be doing just the same to try to, repeat what he did last year. So it's going to be a good battle. It's still somewhat close. I'm still within a race, so anything's possible at this point.
All right, tell us about your sponsors.
Well, I'd like to thank InsideSimRacing.tv, our seat USA, and the seat that I'm sitting in right now, very comfortable, and it probably was the saving grace tonight, because I wanted to go nuts a couple times, but I was sitting in this nice comfy seat, and it cheered me up every now and then. But they're great sponsors. They came on board about a quarter of the way through the season. They've been fully behind me for the whole season now, so I can't thank them enough. GSRacing.net, JDR Graphics, the Bethwood, CB Photography, DCS Computers. There's just so many people that have jumped on board for my rookie season, and it's great to have a bunch of supporters, all the people out there that watch and root for me. So it's great to see them do that too. So I'm thankful for everybody that supports me, and I think a third place finish made a lot of people proud tonight.
All right, good job on your third place finish there, Michael. And we're going to throw it over to Tim Terry, who's caught up with Dylan Duvall.
Dylan Duvall comes home in position number 4 after starting 7, but it was an up and down night. You had a lot of traffic to deal with here this evening in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I had to, I missed my pit stall coming down pit road. And then I was just about dead last on the field and had to drive through them, avoid some wrecks. That was pretty crazy. Definitely, wish I wouldn't have had to do that, but had to avoid some wrecks, had a couple good pit stops, and got up within the top 10 and actually had a car I could race with this week.
Talked with Nim earlier in this show. Being a Pro Series driver, getting up here and getting some experience in this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. How big is that, and how big is it to, let's say, maybe earn the respect of some of these guys that have been racing in this series for years?
Well, it's big and all, but you're going to be racing with different people, a lot of different people in the Pro Series. It's a great experience to be able to race with people who are so good and so competitive every week, but you're racing with a completely different group of guys in Pro. The experience is nice, but I don't think a whole lot of it transfers over because we all pretty much know, for the most part, what we're doing, and we've been doing it for a decent amount of time now.
Now let's talk about these next two races upcoming. We have the Chicagoland race in 2 weeks' time. Then we have the Homestead Miami Speedway. Do you plan on qualifying for those two races? And what are your goals for these final two races in this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship season?
Well, yeah, I'm going to try to qualify for them. Mainly the goal has been every week to try to keep it clean, not get any incidents, keep myself getting suspended. But if it comes around where I have a good car like I did tonight, I'm going to try to race for it and try to get top fives.
I know you got a couple of sponsors on the race car. Who would you like to thank that support you throughout this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship?
First of all, I'd like to thank WheelStandPro.com. It's nice to get a good run-in for them. I haven't had any luck since they came on board. Also, I'd like to thank Tim's Corner, JDR Graphics, and another group of people I really need to thank is Gale Force Racing. Earlier in the week, I didn't even have a team, and it looked like I was going to be by myself for the week, but they decided to take a chance with me and work with me for the week, and heck, it paid off.
And it pays off the fourth place finish. That's Dylan Duvall coming home with position number 4 in the 42 car. We'll kick it over to Nim Cross, who has caught it with our fifth place finisher, Kevin King.
Down here with Kevin King. Kevin, you put together another good run tonight. Good, solid top 5 finish. Third in points. You stay there. In a challenge for the championship. Might be a little bit tougher than Michael, but you're right there and had a really good run tonight.
Yeah, it was really good. I was really excited about the car. I was actually hoping for longer runs because I think that's where the top 3, Ray, Michael, and myself would have pulled away from everyone else, it seemed like, at least the practices I was in. So it's kind of disappointing we didn't get any of those. But the car was really good. It was fast enough to brawl on short runs, but it definitely needed longer runs. That way it came in a little bit better, but, can't complain about top 5.
Tell us about the race tonight. Obviously, a different race than what we're normally used to seeing. Is that have to do with the setup everybody has seemed to have found in the last week or two? Almost seemed like a short track race out there tonight with the way everybody was beating banging instead of the race we saw 2 weeks ago at Michigan.
Yeah, everyone pretty much was told, figured out, or whatever, what was fast, and so you had everyone running the particular rear end. You needed more just the rear end to work. It wasn't just a matter of putting soft springs and jacking up the track bars and going and being fast. You had to do a lot of different things to make it work. So that's tougher, obviously, when everyone's put in the same box and you're trying to find that little bit extra speed. But we struggled for about a week or so to try to find that extra speed in the long run. Ray and those guys are really, really fast, and I could probably hang for about 20. And then I'd fall off too much, and then I finally found something on Monday that felt really, really good, and so I used that, and it was just a little bit off of them, but compared to where I was before, I just knew that if we just went green, it was just going to be us 3, and it would have been a pretty cool result, top 3 in points, finishing 1, 2, 3, however it finished up, but I'm really happy with the car.
What do you think you can do through the rest of the season? 2 more races. We have Chicagoland and Homestead. Do you think you can catch Michael, maybe even Ray?
No, I think Ray's pretty much gone, which, it's pretty awesome. He's a good guy. He deserves it. So I actually will probably try to help Ray as much as possible in terms of giving him a break because there's really no reason for me to do anything stupid around him. So I'm in a position where I'm not really chasing Ray. Maybe Conti because we're semi-close, but it's just so hard because they both run really well. So you just have to race smart. You just have to not really take chances. And if you finish behind them, you finish behind them. It's just the way it is. It's just part of racing. You can't beat everyone every single time. But I'm just going to try to do what I can. Finish top 3, top 5. My goal is to beat Nick, which I did pretty easily tonight, which is pretty awesome. I enjoyed that part. So my points on that will be a lot bigger. So I'm pretty happy going the last 2 races, having a pretty good lead for third. And then what happens for the top 2 is just, whatever's going to happen, happens.
Tell us about what you think about going to Chicago, and then tell us who makes it happen for you.
Chicago, Pat's really good at Chicago, so I'm pretty excited to see what we can do there. He excels at that track, and he wasn't really into it this week, so hopefully he can bounce back and get something really good there. So it's a decent track for me. I think I wrecked earlier in the season, spotter issues or something, but we'll look to run good. Obviously, everyone's going to be fast, so it's just going to be one of those things where you got to be just as fast as them. But I got to thank Alpine Stars, Razor, Hot Tamales, Tim for keeping me on the car. We had some sponsorship issues apparently that someone had an issue with, but Tim stuck with me. I really appreciate that. Hopefully I can get him into victory lane towards the end of the season. You guys for doing what you can and sticking with us when we have bad races, kind of like tonight. And of course PSR TV for broadcasting for everyone to see.
Thanks, Kevin, and congratulations on your top 5. We'll throw it up to Tim Terry.
Let's look at some tweets here, shall we? We have our Twitter winner for the hashtag Atlanta NISWC. Let's see. Our runners-up are Harden15, which would be Ricky Harden. I think there have been many helmets tossed in this race. We got Jacob Klein, Jacob_W_Klein, forcing the issue by forcing 3 wide, watching White Knuckles at Atlanta. And Fries with Dat. Had to sneak my way downstairs to watch this amazing race since it's a school night. Nice win. Hashtag Atlanta NISWC. The winner is nstandish29. Told my girlfriend I was sick so I could come home and watch the race. Hashtag Atlanta NISWC. Standish, representative from PSR TV, will be in contact with you to get your $25 iRacing gift card. Nim Cross, final thoughts on this race?
Well, it was a brutal one. Lots of cautions, 15 cautions, almost like a short track race. Where a lot of tempers flared. Totally different than what we saw 2 weeks ago at Michigan, and hopefully we'll have more of a Michigan-style race in 2 weeks at Chicago.
That's going to do it for us here this week. 2 weeks' time, as we mentioned, Chicagoland Speedway going to be a barn burner of a show. So for everyone here at PSR TV, Ian Bushing, Zach Stanko, Ilka Happala, Nim Cross, Chuck Johnson, my name is Tim Terry, saying we will see you in 2 weeks' time when we say, let's go racing from the Chicagoland Speedway. Keep the hammer down, and we'll see you at the track.